All right, let's see if we can get started. We're in the process of hooking up our dear friend Tony Michaels. Be with us in just 1 second. 3, 2, 1, and I'm with you. How's that feel? How you guys doing? Welcome. Hello. Good day. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning and good morrow. There are a myriad of videos to cover today, but I guess Tony's going to jump in with us at the beginning of the hour. He's hooking up right now. We're working on that technically behind the scenes. There's all kinds of digitalization happening and whatnot. Yes, there will be no swear jar on today's show. For the record, I just want to make that abundantly clear to all you fuckers that we will not. We've gone so far beyond tolerating that kind of bullshit that we're just gonna, well, we both go broke. I think ultimately. I think that's really we're very few. Just be honest, I don't know. Technically, we could actually be broke because no one would have the strength to carry away the jar. It would be so full of quarters, as it were. That said, he'll be joining us in just a minute, I think. Okay, there we go. I see him. Well, he's trying. He's giving it the old college try. That's his picture. Excellent. I don't see him on my end, but by God, he should hang up and try again because he might be in the wrong room. Maybe he wrote it the wrong way. He should follow the link I just gave him. That would be the easiest. He just clicks over to that link and same password and everything because I think yeah. Fingers crossed. We'll get him in here. It'll happen. It's just a part of the whole schlemiel, schlemazel, Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated. By the way, hello chat room. How you guys doing? How you doing? As a matter of fact, let me check in on you right now as we're getting him in there and remind everybody to hit that like early. Just do it, because when you do that, then that boosts us up in the algorithm, lets people know that we're live. And in the process of letting people know that we're live, we can attract more trolls. And of course, trolls are what we like to call in this business free money. That's right. It's one thing to pat yourself on the back for attracting the audience that you want to attract. It's another thing entirely to be hate watched. I couldn't be more proud at the amount of hate watching that goes on. I swear to God, it is a significant amount of my viewership. If I look at the analytics or analytics, if you're coming from their point of view, I don't know that I am, but might as well. And river, right. And anyways, thank you, trolls, for being here. We love you. We're so glad you're here because you push us out into the far reaches, the nether regions of the internet.
Shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
The back door of the internet.
You could say it's a back door, but I call it a smart door.
But which is terrific. It's fantastic, and we appreciate it. No one else could do it. If people like the show, all it does is put me right next to the list of the other shows they like, and people that like those shows might find this one, which is great. Just totally great. Yes, my hair's in a ponytail. I don't know. Everybody thinks I had a haircut. You know why? Because I parted it. That's the thing. I got a part request so often that I was like, all right, I'll do it. And while we're waiting for Tony, let me just tell you, I see him now. I don't hear him yet, but I see him. He's got to turn his mic. Oh, there he is. That's something else. There he is. That's it. That's the way to punch your way in. That's fantastic. Yeah. All right. So give me 1 second, and I'll put him in here. And then we'll have him.
Don't put it in me. Put me in
no. No, yeah, exactly. I mean,
this isn't a hearing room for granted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want you in my permanent record. I just don't. On that way. But let's see if Owen, you're much your dome is much bigger than Tara's, so I will fit you in there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. No, I got you. Tony Michaels, look at that.
My dome is huge. Yeah, I got a huge dome.
Yeah, that's okay, as you should. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome him and thank you, and thanks for joining me, brother, in this sort of off hours show, as it were, because I gotta say, you broadcast during my morning show most of the time, and you lovingly send a raid my way, even though my show is over, forcing me to do Midwestern goodbyes more than any other person out there. Like you make me forcibly.
Well, I tell you that I go to raid someone and I'm like, okay, I got Hal here.
Yep.
Right. And then on Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursdays, I got Gabe Sanchez, right? And
Okay,
then
yeah.
but there's this Trump versus Biden debate thing. That's the AI debate. Sometimes I send my folks over there.
Sure, yeah,
It's
where
fucking
it's 24
hilarious.
hours, right? It's
Yes.
just going
Yeah.
all the time, and,
Right.
yeah, that one's fantastic, and
Mm-hmm.
get ready for that to be more pivotal in some elections than we would like in the future. Like, people will be literally giving points to whoever, wins that debate because somebody will do it and they'll add, like, these are real debate points, both of them made. And then somebody will go, I haven't got a chance to watch any of the other debates. I don't have the time for that. But I watched the fake debate that was going on with just their talking
Yeah.
points. And I just felt like he represents my desires more. And you're like, you do realize this is a sales pitch, asshole. But I love that thing. I think that's it's fucking hilarious. It's a good
Yeah. So
background.
we've cut a couple pieces of it and played it on the show, and they loved it so much. And then I cut it up and put it on shorts on YouTube. And people love when Biden cuss and when Trump says really
Oh
stupid
yeah,
shit.
I mean the popularity of the Trump, Obama, Biden like Minecraft videos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've had a chance to watch those. Where
No.
they're okay, so they basically have pictures of them with gamer headsets on, and
Right.
it's just it's just audio, but there's basically like this Minecraft game going on, and they're just talking over it like they're a team of Minecraft players, and they're just like shitting on each other and using all the kind of in like gamer slang, which is
Right.
so fucking fun. It's great stuff. I'm sure my chat room will share some of them. Those of you that know, and then those of you that don't know what the video he's talking about, share that back to them because it's such a great pressure valve release with all the like tension and all the other shit that's going on. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of
It's great to
nice.
goof.
Yeah,
It's great to goof. You got
yeah.
it. Uh, Politics is so
Mhm.
serious, and you get on like mainstream media, and they're just coming around. Like I was listening
Mhm.
today, and they're like, "Oh my God, Trump's saying stuff out of Mein Kampf." I'm like, "What the? Well, he's been
Where have
saying
you
shit
been?
out of Mein Kampf for like months. Where the hell? Yeah, like he's
Right,
been in interviews talking about blood poisoning for months and months and months. I've been pointing it
right.
out. I know you've been pointing it out. Like, where the hell
Yeah.
have you people been?"
Right. And the interesting thing is like I don't know what your opinion of it primarily when it first came out, but one of the things that was obvious to me was that this is something Stephen Miller's putting in that Trump
Oh
is
yeah.
too historically stupid to even know. Not that he would object. I don't think he'd be horrified to find out he was quoting Hitler speeches. I
No,
just
hell
think
no.
the Stephen Millers on his team put those things in because they know it'll like make the Proud Boy rejects nipples hard. So they're like, oh, I
Right.
fucking finally said it, right?
Right. Oh, he's quoting Hitler.
It's
Yeah.
finally.
They're
Yeah,
rage
and
wanking, to him quoting
right.
Hitler and
Somewhere
reading
in a
Mein Kampf out loud.
right. Somewhere in a Michigan cabin, somebody's handing $5 to another guy that's wearing a Ted Nugent T-shirt, going, "You won." I said you've never openly quote Hitler, and you were like, "Dude, he's gonna do it," and I was like, "No way."
The best part. The best part though, because as soon as the next day when Sean Hannity did an interview, I was on my show and I'm like, look, we're totally going to have a video of the sheep in a pen waiting for a Nazi rally, and someone's going to ask him with a microphone on some stupid fucking traitor TV news network.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, do you want Trump to be a dictator? And they're going to be like, yeah. And like, I thought it was going to take a couple weeks, maybe a month. No, fuck no, next weekend. Here it is.
Yeah.
Bam. There it is. They're like, yeah. And the greatest part is like, they're like, raise your hand if you want him to be a dictator. Like, yeah, how? I'm like, whoa,
Right.
whoa. Look,
Yeah.
Historically, when someone's asking you if you want a dictator, you don't raise your hand and point your fingers out in the air. Like that's the last thing you want to do. But they're doing it. They're doing it.
I think it's their third to last thing in the Republican Party, and that the other two have been maybe they've been satisfied at this point. What the first thing they want, or the second to last thing they want, is a guy with 3 wives who's representing the Christian right, and then the other thing would be the guy with 3 wives who buried one of them on his golf course. I don't know at one point where you run out of just the embarrassment nerve entirely.
You think these people have shame? Is that what you're saying?
No. I made a very important distinction. No. I don't think they feel shame at all. Shame is a deep emotion. Embarrassment is completely surface.
Right.
Like I don't think Trump can feel shame, but I know he can be embarrassed. He's embarrassed all the time.
Okay. I'll ride with you on that one.
What do you think that bullshit? Like, I passed a cognitive test. I aced it. I said, Doc, give me whatever you want. That's because he fucking gibberished up a town, and then he screwed up where Orban is the president, and like he's been brain farting all over the fucking place, and he's basically like, that was a brain fart, but I didn't shart. Okay, I can prove it. You want to see my diaper? And everybody's like, no,
I can smell it from here. I don't need to see it, Grandpa.
We'll trust you.
I do have to say, the one thing I want to thank Trump for finally getting in front of a microphone and letting the world know that he's quoting Mein Kampf, out in the open, is that I've given him a new nickname, Grandpa Hitler. So I want to thank him for that, because I could never jam those two words together, Grandpa and Hitler, without Trump. I mean, it fits really well. So
nobody. I mean, obviously he and Ava didn't get busy enough for them to make any, and I don't know that any of the people, like, that's a phrase that was never actually said by anybody who didn't change their name after the war. Yeah. I will say that, and it would obviously be in Arabic, but in Syria, I'm sure somebody who has a third generation dog has called them, Grandpa Hitler, because they're big on naming their dogs after Hitler, because, it means he's tough. Yeah, fierce dog.
Oh, okay.
They do it in China too. In China, you can have a lot of people have dogs named Hitler and Stalin and that kind of stuff. And,
are you shitting me? That's kind of crazy. That's weird.
Yeah, because it means your dog's tough. It's like,
oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like he's a monster.
Like your dog will murder and
Hitler attack,
genocide
right?
6 million Jews. Is that right?
That's right.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, well, dogs. Well, dog's kind of genocidal. You know,
he'll shake 6 million of them is, I guess, the idea. But they really do that. And in Syria, it's a compliment, but in China, it's a warning. There is a cultural difference, but that's the.
So instead of like in this country, you go in the backwoods, because I know you've been in the backwoods, and they got the big song say "Beware of dog, beware of Hitler, dog." Is that what?
Yes, just beware. They don't even put dog. Just beware of Hitler. Like, oh,
beware
fuck.
of Hitler. Like, oh, fuck. Dog. The dog must be a crazy fuck. Does it have a mustache too? Does it got a little mustache?
Right. A little white dog with just that weird odd coloring. And, like my cat has Chip has a goatee or whatever. If that thing was moved up a little bit, he's got a little like his hair looks like it's parted and goes this way. I'm like, this would be really bad. I'm like, I would have to take him to can you anesthetize and bleach my cats?
Ooh,
right, exactly.
Oh my
it's
God.
bad enough that he looks like a Spanish communist revolutionary who killed a bunch of people, right? So a couple things.
Yes.
The first thing I like to ask, especially when you and I crisscross, like I said, we're on at the same time, so we don't get to watch each other unless we watch the replays or clips or what have you. The two biggest stories right now for you, like the two things that you think aren't getting enough attention, or besides again his blood spoiling nonsense, that are coming up that you think people should pay more attention to, or that?
Well, the two big ones that are absolutely going to ensure that democracy wins here is Roe v. Wade and Roe Rage, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who coined that phrase, but I heard Dr. Rachel Bitterkofer post it. Yeah. So I like that, Roe Rage. So I think Roe Rage, and then Dictator is going to be Dictator.
No.
I've been calling him Donnie Dictator because
no, I'm with you. Yeah. And again, this goes into kind of the Lindsey Graham portion of it. Like, we don't care if a Democrat friend of ours is a dictator. If that's their thing, knock yourself out.
Whatever you want to do, right? You're welcome
not even
to the
slam.
Party.
But it upsets them, and they're like, "God, quit it." You know what I mean? It's it's just one of those things that, like, you only say it because it drives them crazy, and everybody can shrug it off.
Right.
I absolutely think the polling versus voting thing is going to turn out exactly like we saw just about a month ago.
Oh yeah, in Ohio and Virginia and Kentucky.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, even in Mississippi, Tate Reeves, if he really he thought he was going to lose because he was really trying to make sure that some of those polling stations there was long lines and shit. So it was going to be close anyways, and it was close. But again, it would be closer if he didn't try to suppress the vote intentionally. But I mean, the fact that Tate Reeves would even try to cheat in that state, in that governor's race, gives you good indication that they know internally they're fucked. but
Yes.
they can't stop the drug of fascism. Like they can't. It's a train that they're not going to be able to get in front of now. And now that Donald Trump is, and I hope he keeps saying it more and more, like, I want to be a dictator. Look, I didn't say I want to be a dictator. I just want to be a dictator.
Okay, not one day, 1 week, a week, because for 2 weeks, I'll stop being a dictator in 2 weeks.
Right.
The 2 weeks that never comes.
Right. Well, the crazy part is that, and the media is rambling on today about it. Huh?
The crazy part is that he's a candidate. Like,
well, I mean, we do live in the stupidest fucking timeline ever in history. Yeah. And sometimes I wonder if this is actual reality or if it's just some fucking alternate thing.
It's a simulation. Right. And somebody fell asleep on the keyboard and their elbow is on the exclamation point. And it's going like that. So whatever they wrote last
totally
is like
fucking up everything. Just
crazy exclamation point.
But here's the thing: is we're gonna get to a point where Donald Trump, because the media is outraged that he's reading from Mein Kampf and talking about blood poison. I'm like, where the fuck have you people been? But they're really gonna be fucking weirded out when he's standing on stage and he's like, I want to be a dictator, and the reason why is because my flock wants me to be a dictator, because they do. They want him. Like that's the thing that's been most obvious since 2016 is the cult wants him to be the dictator. They want him. Like, and when Donald Trump gets this whiff of just things that make him money, and he's like, oh, I can smell it. I can smell that they want me to be the dictator. And so like he seizes on it, and like, stink on shit. And it's a thing that's gonna happen where he's gonna stand on stage.
It's maggot catnip is what it is. Like they automatically like she knows this.
It's sheep food. It's sheep food.
Now I have I think it was, I don't know where Tucker was on. I think he might have been on with Jimmy Dore or something, but he was talking about like UFOs and how it's the one thing he's afraid to talk about and because it's so serious or whatever. It's like so fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb. But what it reeked up for me was something that is very Trumpian, which is, and I wrote it on Shitter, and I was like, this is what a person says when they know all of their viewers are morons and they've still got a nickel in their pocket. That's what this is. And the same thing with Trump. This is the kind of shit you say when you've got a bunch of like cult-like followers who are losing their shit and they've still got a nickel. If they didn't have a nickel anymore, he'd dust them off and move on. He does it all the time. But he still thinks that it's the small donors, because the big donors aren't bailing him out. That's what his bitching about interest rates and all that shit is now. That's why he's complaining about.
And Wall Street's going to back Biden like they did in 2020.
Fucking A, right? They are.
I mean,
even with higher taxes, they're doing better.
On stage, being like, "I'm going to be a dictator." Like all corporations, all corporate people, all the rich people know what the fuck happens under a dictator. They all know. It's not fucking rocket surgery, for crying out loud. Like they're gonna figure this out, and just like they backed Biden in 2020 because he was saying all kinds of crazy shit about the pandemic. Put bleach. If we just put the sun under our skin, that would be great. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Stick a light bulb up your ass and drink some bleach. Yeah,
it's fucking crazy. And capitalism, but mainly the plutocracy. In that Wall Street is not going to back someone who's going to risk that they will lose their plutocracy, right? Or the image of it, or the feeling of it, because they can't. That's the one thing they can't lose is their power is that they are tied to the money in the country. They got to control that.
Yeah. And over the last week, I thought we saw something kind of very distinct about these people. Is that Donald Trump's own lawyer accidentally called him a coward when Alina Habba on Sunday night said he's not a coward, he doesn't cower, and so he's going to testify. And then like less than an hour later, he posts, "I'm not going to testify. This is bullshit. I'll just get myself in hotter water." And so she's like, "Oh, I guess he is a coward then? Is that what you were saying?" And then Rudy Giuliani had a chance to address the court in his, at least in terms of what he was going to have to pay, not his guilt, because that had already been established 100 times, and would have been, again, the entire Rudy Giuliani defense is simply like, Your Honor, what my client believes isn't believable. You just have to trust me that he's dumb enough to have believed it. Right? That is the defense.
Right.
He said all this awful shit, but he's so stupid he thought he was saying the truth. Like, that's the defense. That's all you got to fucking do.
Well, someone was saying the other day, they're like, "How did Rudy fall?" And I'm like, "Really? Did he fall? Or was it just? It was just this.
It's like
this,
Trump. It was always bullshit. It was
right,
always bullshit.
Right. Well, I mean, and I've said this a long time that everyone thinks MAGA is a cult, which it is, but the Republican Party has been a cult for many, many decades.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since Jerry Falwell really started to get involved and really started to court the Christian nationalist into his movement and call them Republicans and thin veil it with this conservatism shit. That's why it pisses me off when Paul Ryan and Liz Cheney want to be part of the Democratic coalition. I'm like, fuck you. What are you talking about? You people caused this. And until you're willing to be out there saying, hey, we caused it and here's how, I don't want to hear your shit. Look, and people get mad that I say that because they're like, whoa, Paul Ryan and Liz Cheney are really in this fight with us. I'm like, they're not in the fight with us. They're trying to save the Republican Party, not our democracy. Those are two different fucking fights. And their fight and our fight that means to an end will have the same outcome where Trump's not the president. So why do we have to invite them in? I mean, I like Rick Wilson because Rick Wilson from the very beginning said, fuck Trump. Right. And I respect Rick for that. But that's just about as far as I go because there's a lot of things that I'm going to disagree with on Rick Wilson. But Rick Wilson caused Trump, and he admits it, and he's admitted it for a long time. So I respect him in saying that. But the other day when he did the video about, we need to welcome Paul Ryan in, fuck you, Rick. We're not welcoming Paul Ryan in. The guy doesn't believe in democracy. That's not what he wants. He's never wanted that. He doesn't want it now. He just wants our attention so he can save the Republican Party. And I'm not going to do that shit. Like I'm not going to make Paul Ryan my friend. Fuck you. You are not a friend of democracy. You're not a friend of our constitutional republic. You fucking hate middle and average Americans.
I think most of the time it falls into it's your mess, you clean it up. And and in terms of even in that applies to Liz Cheney. She can believe all she wants, in democracy itself, and she can fight for her ideals from the other side and hash it out in the court of public opinion and all that kind of shit. But I'm not going to help you salvage the party you used to do it. If the apparatus of the entire fucking thing is toxic and chaotic and full of shit, I would argue that when Falwell was starting that shit, they had about 15 to 20% of the party. And that's what made it even more ironic when they called it the moral majority, when they weren't even the majority of their own fucking party. Because they put Newt Gingrich as their front person, another 3-wife fucker who left his second wife while, basically.
Is he still alive? Is he still alive?
Yes.
Every time I hear Newt Gingrich, I'm like, he's alive? Every time I see him, I'm like, wow, this guy's not dead
Dude,
yet.
he made his wife sign the terms of their divorce when she was recovering from cancer surgery and she was still coming out of anesthetic. Like that guy.
So he's a Republican is what you're saying.
Right, but that was the guy they made him the point person for the religious conservatives who called themselves a moral majority. So why is it surprising that Trump became the next guy in line? Like he's a total, yes, he's an about face. He's 180 degrees from what they say. But then so was Newt Gingrich. So was George W. Bush, for fuck's sake. Like his cocaine use and his weird flights to South America all during Iran-Contra, where he's like, how do I know where the pilots were? Well, my son had some free time. Like, for fuck's sake. Like, what do you think he was doing? Like, do you think he just flew to South America for the fucking beach? And by the way, I don't doubt that he did, because they didn't trust him to look at shit. They just went, fly the plane down there, go have a look at the beach, and then get back on your plane and come back. Like, that's the kind of shit, right? And yet, that goes against the whole, national security, and we care about Americans, and back the blue, and all that kind of stuff, because nobody winds up...
It's all fucking lies.
It's all marketing. It is all marketing. And in this particular...
that's what Trump is great at, right?
Yes.
He's great at taking lies. Well, that is true. Because he's like, look, I want to be a dictator. And you're like, oh, that's a horrible brand. Like, that's not brand. That brand is not going to work in America. But MAGA isn't the cult. It's a Republican Party. And they've always looked for a cult leader. Like, forever, they were like, Ronald Reagan this, and Reagan that, and Ronald Reagan, and up Ronald Reagan's ass. And they love Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan. And it never really culminated to a cult leader.
Oh, thank you, Jesse.
They always tried to do that, but it never really worked. And then came along this dummy buffoon from New York, and they're like, oh, this guy's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. And the reason why is because Trump really truly is white trash. Like he's fucking white trash.
Yeah.
And the only reason why
That's why he
he
gets
isn't that
along with
kind
the
of white
Saudis.
trash. Right. Well, the only reason why he's not the kind of white trash that you look at your town and you're like, look, don't go talk to that guy in the store. He's a fucking crazy lunatic. He's an asshole. You don't want to talk to him. Is because his dad fucking took all that government money for HUD housing and stole it, really. His Nazi dad. But that's the reason why. I mean, they never would let him fucking buy an NFL team. They wouldn't even let him buy a small percentage. They never would let him into the fucking club because he's not elite. He's fucking white trash. And that's really, because I've always wondered that. Like, I'm from the backwoods. I'm from rural Missouri. I'm from the Ozarks, like where Netflix, the Ozarks series, that's where it was set. That's where I'm from. So, and it's kind of right. It's kind of right. A lot of meth, you know, a lot of brains all cooked up on meth. But here's the thing is I never could understand what the connection was between them. And that's what it is. They're trash. They feel like trash. They feel like
they recognize him.
That's right. Well, even though he's fucking rich and he brags about how much money he's got, which he doesn't have, which is what they do. They drive big trucks that the bank owns because they can't. They got to get a loan
to the mall.
Right.
It's again these fuckers in these pickup trucks, and all they do is drive them from like mini mall to mini mall. It's so goddamn ridiculous.
I see so many of them, and they have these big trucks with these 8-foot beds, and they've never had anything in the
nothing in them.
Bed. Nothing.
Never.
Maybe a Trump flag. Maybe a Trump flag or something like that.
And a liner. They even have a fucking liner. And it's not because
spraying liner, like the expensive spraying liner.
Right, yeah.
Like, oh, maybe I'll call something eventually. Now
these motherfuckers, and they're fucking pristine like a fucking Tesla or some shit. You know, they polish them with a fucking
of trucks
diaper.
And Tesla, did you see the video of the Cybertruck
with the Christmas tree? Which one? Or the one?
Well, I mean, hey man.
The other one that got stuck.
I gotta say that video with where they're hauling the Christmas tree, they're hauling more in the Cybertruck than what the Trumpers with the big fat, Ford, F-250 are hauling. So they are trying to haul a small Christmas tree in the Cybertruck, but it gets stuck in the fucking snow. It can't even go in the snow.
And it's
hilarious.
The torque on an electric motor is so high that you shouldn't have that problem. It's just I don't know if it's shit tires or just bad driving or.
What do you mean? What's the problem? I mean, it's Elon. I mean, he was like, you know what? I'm going to take the worst car launches. Right. Yeah, right. I'm going to take the two worst car launches in American history, the DeLorean and the Pontiac Aztek. I'm going to make them fuck and have a baby, and it'll work. It'll totally work.
And then I'm going to throw a cue ball at the window to show how unbreakable it is, and these dipshits are still going to buy it.
Right. Well, because they are part of the MAGA cult, and it's crazy that Elon's like all the people, all those, bougie liberals who love electric vehicles. I'm going to really piss them off. And I'm going to try to get, shit eaters to buy my Cybertruck.
But I don't understand that. I mean, marketing wise, that's one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard. Like dude has done nothing but court people that are like hang on Trump's every word and think electric cars are not just bad or they don't go anywhere or any of that shit, that they're worthless, that they're bad, that they're like vehicles of the Antichrist.
It's the deep state.
Right.
They're deep state cars. That's what EVs are. They're deep state cars. They really are.
Sure. Yeah, because
I mean, it's an op. It's an op, Hal. See, the reason why is because we don't know this stuff is because we don't live in the reality that they live and know that everything's an op. And EVs are an op to convince us that we should be libtards and drink gay beer and go to Target and buy pride shirts. That's what EVs are intended to do, is to make you do that. That's why Pete Buttigieg is advocating.
Right, because he's gay. We have gay roads now. That's right, because he's
turned
the roads gay.
Listen,
as
long as they don't have sex in the Senate hearing room, I'm sure we'll be okay.
Good Lord. So that
did you notice that all the right wingers were posting gay porn on their Twitter
very strange.
Accounts? Did you notice that?
Very strange. It's very curious.
I was like, well, should I post the video or will people think that I'm a right winger now?
Does anybody look at the likes or? All right. Anyways, and again, it's not what you do; it's where you do it. Have a little decency. That's the only issue.
Here's the
what's
thing.
wrong with?
Here's the thing. And someone said this on my Twitter. I really left the comment. If there is a door and it can lock, either someone has tried to or will try to have sex in that room. Like, it's a human thing.
Sure. Right.
That
Well, yeah.
people have sex in room, especially in office buildings. They
Right.
people love the fucking office buildings for whatever reason. They get all sexed up at work and they like to have, sex in office buildings.
Trysts.
Right. Now, you probably shouldn't record it for evidence when you're having sex in a
Yeah,
public
because then the
building.
door isn't even part of the
Right.
conversation anymore.
Right.
And I mean, it's these Gen Zers, man. They just don't know when to stop. But there's a movie that I love. It's called The Secret of My Success. It's a Michael J. Fox movie. It's very.
Oh,
it's
I thought you were going to say there's a gay porn thing. I mean,
No,
you
no,
said a
no, no,
movie. We were talking about.
No. But there's a great moment in it because it brings up to the point you're talking about, where he's being chased. He's pretending to be an executive, so he dresses as an executive, but he really works in the mailroom. So he's got to hide from his mailroom boss while he's pretending to be an executive, and he has to outrun him at one point. And he's, slipping through other rooms and shutting the door behind him. And he goes into one of these storage closets, these like supply closets, and these two people are having sex on top of the stuff. And he goes, "Oh, excuse me, aren't you from receiving?" And he's talking to the woman. It's just such a subtle joke that I just, aren't you from receiving? I gotta say, like, that joke. And it's just and the movie moves so fast in that moment that you really don't
even notice it unless you're really listening. Maybe you have to rewind and rewatch that she's receiving. That she's receiving.
Yes,
well, I thought that it was great because the right wing's like, look, people are having gay sex in the hearing room. I'm like, well, that's when two dudes are having sex. That's how I don't know if you have figured that out. Maybe you haven't figured out like heterosexual sex, but that's how two dudes do it. Like that's how.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's kind of like the Lauren Boebert thing because everyone got onto her for giving a hand job in the Beetlejuice. She was juicing the beetle. But I was like, look, there's so many fucking things to really actually hate and really mock Lauren Boebert to be a congressperson.
Right.
Give it a hand job in a theater because she's drunk or high or whatever, and this dude's got a hard on.
Least of our worries.
Hard to believe.
Right.
That's not hard to believe. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's not really hard. And the same goes with this sex in the Senate hearing room. And I know a lot of lefties probably don't want to talk about it because it's Democratic staffers doing it. But the thing is if you can't imagine that these same Democratic staffers may or may not have, been on a certain app with Lindsey Graham, Lady G, and possibly, done things in a locked room somewhere. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. Right. It ain't about the sex. It's the fact that they were recording it while they're at work.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fired for it. So what do you all bent out of shape for?
I can't wait till they have hearings, though. That's the thing. That's what I want. I can't
Whoever's
wait.
sitting in that spot.
Oh, my God.
You think they'll feel really uncomfortable? They're like,
and they'll put Jim Jordan in charge of it, and it'll be the first time in his life he's ever had to face gay sex happening nearby that he knew was happening, but somehow refused to talk about. Like, the dude, like what's going to be the Democratic response? Is your problem, Mr. Jordan, that it is consensual and someone told? Which part do you have a problem with? The not telling or the telling, the consensual or the non-consensual part? What a fucking prick. Anyways, so in terms of I don't think that I've been watching some of the Hunter Biden hearings they had where they dug these IRS whistleblower guys back out to run over the same shit. And one of them said, I think the Republican congressperson said, he was going through this, I'm going to draw your attention to part of your testimony, or your statement, not your testimony. He goes, page 7 of your testament, your statement, and I'm going to draw attention to page 104 of your statement. And I was like, this motherfucker made a statement that is over 100 pages long, and this guy, you're going to tell me this guy isn't a partisan? Like, good God, man, it's 6 details. Did he avoid taxes? Yes or no? Do you think it should have been federal crimes or federal, in terms of like a misdemeanor or would it should have been handled by the states? Yes or no? And it's over. And it's just, that's it.
Well, yeah, but listen, he had to make sure to describe every single Snickers vein in Hunter Biden's cock in the pictures that they showed in the hearing room. That's the craziest part is they're going to freak out over dudes having sex in a room. And you're showing porn, you're like holding up pictures of Hunter's dick in the same in the same
Right.
context.
You're holding up non-consensual nudes
right.
of a stranger that you had no right to have in the first place
right.
to prove a point that does not actually need to be made. Like, no one cares. Not like him.
And they're mad about a video of on this, and apparently maybe that's the difference. On the Senate side, it's very offensive. On the House side, not so much. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
Well, it's it's the rabble of the House versus the the gentrified Senate. And again, I'll tell you why. Because the Senate is more expensive to get elected to, so you got to go fancy dinners. So you can't walk around going, "Oh yeah, welcome. Oh, lovely. I've been thinking about joining some of my riches to your campaign, and I certainly enjoyed how you showed up that giant cock in the middle of that hearing, right? That was lovely. Like, whereas in the House, it's just like you got a bunch of people in a fucking caucus room in Georgia going, "Here's another $5. You should show him his dick again," right? Like,
hey, are you gonna buy a raffle ticket for the dildo?
Yeah, right.
I mean, goddamn, it looks just like Hunter's dick.
It's amazing what 3D printers can do today. It's amazing.
Man, you know what's crazy is we can sit here and talk about this shit, and it's real. It's real. We're not even making any of this shit up. Like, this is
right. Nope, none of it. I will. Here's one of the pieces of good news, and I want to see your take on this. So the Donald Trump has been bragging about his fucking polling lately, and I've been making the case that he's in deep shit. All like whatever blather, Biden polling aside, which I'm not worried about. We're a year out, doesn't bother me at all. I'm not even focusing on that. But Trump's got to win a primary, so his matter. His are now. His are reasonable. And in the last, since the summer, well, and never mind the fact that again he won handily 98% of the Republican vote in 2020, right? Took it all. Like everybody was a registered Republican, got off their ass and voted. Now there's fewer of them than there are of us, and that's the part that scared the fuck out of them by millions. But all of them voted for him. And now in Iowa, he's at 46% of the party in the caucuses in the poll.
Oh, it's not a good sign. But here's the thing is that because if you do the Republican primary math, right, he's going to be the nominee. And the reason why is because Ron DeSantis has basically wasted all his money in Iowa, which now his staff is gone, his money's gone, his donors are gone. Ron DeSantis is fucking cooked. Right. Even his supporters are starting to peel off, realizing Ron DeSantis isn't viable in Iowa. And Ron DeSantis does not have a ground game anywhere else. It was Iowa or bust. And he basically did what Scott Walker did. You remember Scott Walker? You remember that guy? Yeah, he totally Scott Walkered himself. I don't know why Ron DeSantis is so stupid, but he is. So there's that. And you know what? I will have to say this is the one good thing that Trump has done for this country is ruin Ron DeSantis' career. So I'm happy about that. So thank you, Trump.
Which he created in the first place. So talk about a circle jerk. Like, they talk about communism, like pay one guy to dig a hole and pay him to fill it in. That's exactly what Trump does politically. He digs a hole and fills it in. That's it.
Right. Well, so good on Trump for ruining Ron DeSantis. But here's the thing. When you get into Iowa, Ron DeSantis is number 2. Possibly number 3, maybe Nikki Haley. I fucking seriously doubt it. I think they're dreaming with Nikki Haley. She's so bad at this. She's terrible at it. Everyone thinks she's good, and the media says she's good, which obviously means she's bad. Now, when Ron DeSantis loses, right, we get to New Hampshire and South Carolina. Those are the 2 places that Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis are going to play for is New Hampshire and then South Carolina. We all know if Nikki Haley loses in South Carolina, she's done. She's finished.
Because it's her state.
Right. It's her state. She was the fucking governor there. So she can't win there. She's fucked. Now, in New Hampshire, the problem with New Hampshire is it is a little bit independent, even on the Republican side. So Chris Christie is going to peel some from these morons, but he's not going to peel the Trump vote. Okay. And that's why Trump, so that's where the math actually comes from, because once Trump has Iowa, he has New Hampshire, and he has South Carolina's belt. That's it. There's no one to cook past that.
Right. For the record, I completely agree that he's got the nomination locked as far as volume. What I'm saying is that the way he's doing it is by severing the GOP in half.
Oh, absolutely. Well, right. And nothing shows more than Ron DeSantis, because so many supporters have been like, I'm Ron all the way because fuck Trump. And now they're in a position where they have to go back. And the problem isn't, well, the problem isn't that they don't want to go back. It's the problem is that this is how fascism works.
Right.
Like, I had a friend, and I tell this story on my show. We were talking the other day, and he kind of jokingly said, because he voted for Trump in 16, he voted for Biden in 20. But he said, I don't really like, he's old, he's kind of joking. And he said, I might vote for RFK Jr. And I said, look, and I got real serious with him for a second. I said, look, what I want you to do is I want you to vote for Trump. He said, what? I said, I want you to vote for Trump. And here's the reason why, is because if you want Trump to win and Trump wins, what I don't want is for when the Nazis start going through the voting tally and they find out that you voted for RFK instead of Trump, they're going to come around to your house and they're going to kill you and your family.
Right.
And he was like, what? And I was like, listen, go vote. I'm dead serious. Go vote for Trump because I want your family to live when they come
look
around
at the
to your
list.
house.
When they look at the list that's supposed to be, it's supposed to be anonymous. It ain't.
It ain't.
If he wants,
they'll find it. They'll find it. And I was like, you got to make sure that you protect your family from the regime. And he's like, man, that's dark. And I'm like, look, no one knows, because he's a personal friend of mine. I've known him for years. I was like, really, no one that I know this personally has studied and watched World War II and is interested in that history more than you. I said, just use your brain and A and B. And he's like, you're fucking right. And I'm like, I know I'm right. But what I'm telling you is, if you know I'm right, just do the right thing. And that is to vote for fucking Biden, you dummy.
Yeah.
Don't. What are you doing? Why are you even? It's not even fun to joke about.
Well, the other thing is, I would argue, honest to God, I would argue that in that case, if somebody's like, I'm thinking about voting for RFK or Marianne Williamson or blah blah blah, through the primary or through the independent, I'm like,
Biden's old,
right? Just vote for Trump then, because that's what you're doing,
right?
Don't fuck around. Don't pretend that if you think you have the amount of privilege you have to think that you can waste a fucking vote in the face of Donald Trump, who just got rid of women's rights and will give Netanyahu the total go-ahead.
About it.
Yeah, and give Netanyahu the go-ahead to absolutely level Gaza once and for all with the backing of the Saudis, by the way.
Oh, and taking the entire West Bank.
Yeah, fuck them. They're gone. There's no middle ground in this. None. There's none of this. And so if you're gonna dick around with your vote, just vote for Trump and shit or get off the pot, because that's what you're doing. This isn't a situation where we're like, if we learn nothing from fucking Nader giving the presidency to George W. Bush, and if you honestly think Al Gore would have responded to 9/11 by going into Iraq, and you can live with that constant return of that's how it'll always go, it's just what fucking happens. If you're gonna be that fucking dumb, then you might as well just go all in.
Go vote for dumb.
Yeah, just go all in on dumb. Go straight up fucking dumb. Just go for it. Stop.
Just bet on it. Don't.
What's this side conscience horse shit where you're like, well, I didn't vote for Trump. I just threw my vote in the fucking trash or didn't show. And so that way, if women lose even more of their rights or contraception goes away or, any of that shit, fuck it. Not my fault. I stood there as the bull hit the woman. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. That's
well, and again, they're going, I mean, they've already shown, because they're like, oh no, you're getting too crazy. You're having too much outrage about Roe v. Wade. It's not. They're not gonna come for women's rights. And I'm like, now they're criminalizing certain types of pregnancy. And they're banning women's health care and criminalizing women's health care. They're having to leave states to go save their fucking lives. Okay. Now they're taking away parental consent. They're taking it away. They're using trans kids as their legislative tool to take away parental consent. I mean, Senator Mike Moon here in Missouri last year, and you probably remember this video. I showed it on my show today, where he introduced a bill where you could have 12-year-olds being married, 12-year-old girls, because they're not going to want 12-year-old boys getting married. That's not a thing. They want 12-year-old girls to get married. They wouldn't want the boys to miss their manhood. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but so they want to marry 12-year-old girls. Now, the same motherfuckers want to force 12-year-olds to have babies. And then these assholes are on the Turning Points USA stage this weekend, and they're telling young women, drop out of school. And Charlie Kirk says out of his own fucking mouth, have kids as young as you possibly can and have as many as you possibly can.
Right.
That's what Charlie Kirk said. So Charlie Kirk, the same guy who's advocating for 12-year-olds to be married, well, he's advocating for the party, the Nazi party in Missouri, that is asking for 12-year-old girls to get consent to be married. He's asking those girls to be married and have children as young as possible, and then advocating that they have to force them to give birth of their rapist husband who has been forced on her by the consent of her parents or whatever the fuck, wet fascist dream they have. These are the people we're talking about, the white Christian nationalists. And they're not going to stop until they have their...
the quiverful oath keepers. Right. Yeah. Somebody in the chat just said quiverful movement. That's exactly right. And this is another, like, it's a population push. It's this idea that they believe in the white replacement theory or whatever the fuck. That's
all projection. That's all projection. Because what they were saying this weekend is, hey, we got to have as many white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired babies as we can because, those scary brown people are taking over. But I mean, and I let my audience in on a big secret, and I wasn't aware that a lot of people didn't know this. And I'm sure you do. But Hitler actually in Nazi Germany had sex camps. And they had the concentration camps, but they had sex camps. They would get teenage girls and teenage boys, and they put like summer camps like right next to each other where they could see across like the lake that they were all swimming in, and they would separate them and get them all sexed up, just sex up these teenagers, let them look at each other, swimming and exercising and shit. And then they put them together and make them impregnate the girls because they wanted more fucking white children. Right. They wanted to
Goebbels' experiments with twins, and his move to Argentina afterwards is why there's like the biggest collection of blonde twins in the world is in Argentina, for fuck's sake. Like,
really?
You don't know about that?
Huh.
That's a super fun
I need to
deep
learn
dive
on that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, but that was where the bug out was.
Because what you're saying is Goebbels was trying to figure out, like, how can we get women to not have one Nazi but two Nazis? Way more effective.
That's right. Yeah, double your pleasure, double
when they're having two Nazis at once.
Double your Führer. Yeah. So
double your pleasure, double your Führer. Oh my god.
So everybody in the chat now is like, there's a book about it, and also just put that in there. 80s just saying Nazis invented meth. I don't know that they invented it. I think they made it a readily available product for their soldiers. By the way, the Hamas soldiers are the fighters are all gacked out on the same shit. Everybody's on meth. Like,
they're on speed then. Huh? Well, I have to admit, I've been sick the last couple of weeks, so I had to take Sudafedrin. So I've been on speed, and like I can feel it. Like when I take it, I'm like, dude, this ain't half bad. Like that's a good thing I'm not, akin to drug addiction, because I might be chewing that shit.
Imagine chewing that shit or crushing and snorting it like Noel says that Trump did on The Apprentice all the time. If you can't get your hands on the good stuff, and the thing about having Sudafed, especially at that time, because everybody until it swapped over, and they changed the ingredients, and that's why the green Sudafed boxes that were in his thing are from Europe, where they still have the ingredient, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas now it has to be separated and it's got too little in it. But early on, the fucking 90s and the late 80s, man, that shit had plenty in it. You do like 4 of those things, crush them up and snort them. It was like burning some meths, and that's where he learned it. That's where a bunch of people fucking learned it, right? But Pervitin is what the Nazis handed out to everybody, and that was meth. And it's like this pill form of meth. There's this great story about this, like, I think he's Norwegian, but there was this Norwegian soldier that was fighting the Russians, and they had sided with the Germans. That's where the split in Ukraine was and all that kind of stuff. And this dude, everybody in his unit he's separated from his unit because the 5 guys on the scout force he was with died, and he's by himself, and he doesn't have any provisions. All he has is his Pervitin, which is like this tube of like 10 tablets, and you're supposed to take one every like 5 days. He took all of it. And the stories apparently of what they worked out, what he did, because he doesn't remember a shit ton of it, but he lived in this, like, he fought his way into this house and killed everybody there, and then lived in the house surrounded by death, and then eventually tried to cook himself something and burned the fucking house down and found himself in the snow, and then he came upon some, like, he got shot 3 times and all this crazy shit. And
Sounds like a Thursday where I'm from. Sounds like a Thursday where I'm from.
Yeah, it's West Virginia, basically, if anybody's ever been there. That's what it's like. And it turns out there was nobody in the house that he burned down. He just dreamt it all while he was there, like every aspect of it. He told them the story, and they retraced his steps, and you're like, there wasn't anybody in that fucking house. There's nobody. Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, I was on like 15 pills of Pervitin, man.
I was fucking
gonna sleep for a month. It's so crazy. I'll try and dig up the story so I can pass it along to you. But again, there is a correlation here to the the Adderall, Sudafed, hardcore focus nootropic idea in the right wing, especially. And you can tell this in all the pitter-patter guys. All the guys who just get and they talk like this, and they know they're on ADD drugs, but they don't have ADD, so they just, and that's what
they're popping the Ritalin.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they just
crushing it and putting it in an enema.
That's right. That's right. So nobody can see it.
Everybody knows that's how you really get the good effect.
Who is the guy, the crypto guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF or whatever? Yeah, he's doing like Parkinson's meds and like speed up his ass. And people like, you look at the label.
Desperate times calls for desperate measures. Okay?
And they're like, he was gambling. He was living in a pansexual sex cult place. Remember, they all that place.
Sounds pretty good.
But it was like makes you like super horny and yet unable to experience pleasure. Makes you side effects.
These are the effects or the side effects.
Yeah, side effects. Gambling, all that shit.
I was hoping they were the effects. I'm like, which drug is this? I want this one.
Again,
I want those.
Depends on what you're shooting for. Again, because it's only a contraindication if it's not what you like. I guess. Right. So, hold on. This whole thing's gonna be like Pervitin, Norway soldier, crazy. I don't know. Fuck, it'll come up. Yeah. That's right. Imo Koivunen was this guy. I'll show you this guy. And the picture of him, it was Finland. Fuck, I was so close. It wasn't Norway, it's Finland. So this guy, hold on.
Norway, Finland, that's the same shit.
He looks like he's on meth anyways. Buddy. So, his hair looks
How long
like
do I have to sit here for the picture?
He's running like Sonic the Hedgehog. 1944, got separated from his unit, survived for weeks inside the Arctic Circle without food or shelter, fueled by a dose of meth large enough for 30 men. Imo Koivunen. It's such a fucking crazy story, and it's all true. 250 miles. He basically walked in a giant circle.
My God.
It's so he was being chased by the Soviets. He skied over a landmine that exploded it and started a fire, and he survived the explosion. This is it. That's Pervitin. That's the drug. The Nazis were all on this shit. They were all gacked up on this stuff, Yeah, they were all basically like Bobcat Goldthwait in Police Academy 2. I'm a vegetarian.
What? That's a Bobcat Goldthwait, like in the movie Blow, when they bring the blow to him to test it. And I think he takes just one fingernail full, and he's like, I can't feel my face.
Yeah, right.
He's like, this is 99% pure. I can't
feel my face. So good. Always back to your mother. Why don't you just work it out? So, anyways, I this whole story, but ISIS fighters are all on meth. They're all on meth, all of them. And in Sudan, the RSF fighters and all the on the ground Sudanese army guys are also on it. And it quite frankly, one of the big concerns of it, among the others, is that it makes you a fucking robot, and it kills your empathy almost entirely. The shit you will do. If anybody's ever seen a meth head, how they treat their who's being busted by the cops, who like dislocates their own shoulder and gets out of the cuffs and that kind of shit, or like gnaws on people,
climbs out of a crack in the window like this fucking
right?
big,
Yeah, and
like a cat. Like, how did you do that?
how do you like it? Yeah, right. They dislocate their own hips. They'll break their own bones, like all kinds of crazy shit. It's fucking nuts. And like, that's a burner use of it. That's just somebody recreationally. Imagine the dude who's got like a mission, a deep and abiding mission that he's been programmed with all this time. Wind these fuckers up and then toss them that shit, right?
Well, thinking about it though, like, wouldn't you look at history and be like, all the methed up armies have always lost? Like, they got a really shitty record here.
No.
Like, maybe
the armies didn't lose. The uppers lost because I think they lost.
True.
They lost control of their fucking Wolverines.
They're all fucking
right. Yeah. Like,
where do I get more meth? No, you're supposed to be fighting a war. Yeah, but I want more meth.
Right. They're talking to soldiers like they're soldiers, and they're like, okay, attack. And they're like, okay. And they just keep going. You're like, no. Attack until dawn, I guess, and then stop, and then eat, and then shit, and dig a hole, and start. Reload your weapon. What the fuck are you doing? And they're just like, right.
At least put the clip in, for crying out loud.
Yeah. And somebody else is bringing up the fact that African fighters are also on khat, which is another, it's like Bin in Taiwan you can get. It's a chewable, like hot, it's like a coca leaf, or like a coconut, and you chew on that, not the coconut, but a coca nut, and you chew
like
on
cocaine.
That thing. Yeah, it's like cocaine, and you just chew on it like dip, right? Yeah, right. Getting too dark, hey. So yeah, so these, I gotta say, like, it's not surprising that a big portion of, those folks are nuts and empathy's not there. But I have a theory that if you don't have ADD or you don't have ADHD and you use ADHD or ADD corrective chemicals in your system, it can make you racist. Hear me out.
Okay, well, let's go down this road. I like this.
Right.
One. Yeah.
What is Ritalin especially, but Adderall is used mostly by like college students who are trying to study, because why? It keeps you hyper focused. It keeps you, it makes your brain include all the details you will need for the task at hand and exclude all else. Right. It basically puts blinders on you, chemical blinders. And again, I'm talking about people who use it off label. This isn't about people who have ADD and ADHD. People get confused. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you use these drugs for shit if you don't need it. It's like, I don't know, having like chronic fatigue syndrome and they give you a stimulant to do it, that makes you normal. But if you don't, then right, if you don't,
you're an
have
asshole,
chronic fatigue,
racist.
yeah, right, yeah. But the more you narrow focus it, the more the details you see are going to only feed into whatever the narrative you're looking for is. It will create,
because you stop seeing all context, right?
Yeah, you see no context,
no nuance, no
unless you're looking for it specifically.
Black and white. Right.
And if you talk about like, confirmation bias, for example, you tune right-wing Ben Shapiro level confirmation bias and that crowd shit with Ritalin or Adderall or, any number of focused nootropics or whatever, like that kind of thing. It'll make you go, maybe there is something to this whole Jews thing, right? Like that's part of where it comes from, because they're chemically.
Wait. Did you say Jews thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just trying to figure out which type of racism we were at.
Right. I could pick one, and I was like, because this whole black thing doesn't quite sell it. So in my mind,
it could be like, well, do you wear blue or do you wear black? Like you can't wear black with brown. You got to wear blue with brown, right?
That's right. But Jews isn't unmistakable, right?
Right.
So
you're right.
That's where part of this comes from. But the problem is, and we're over the end of the hour, and I'll let you go. But I want to remind everybody, you're on every morning from. I'm
on every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central.
Gotcha.
9 Pacific on
For
YouTube.
how
long? 2 full hours every single day. Yeah. Same time, 2 full hours. And I know we overlap a little bit. And I want to say, while I'm here, I appreciate all the sparklers that show up to the show, because we got a lot of sparklers in the chat all the time. When you're not on, I'm on. Now, I know our styles are kind of the same, so a lot of people like to, cross pollinate.
Sure.
Not in a Senate hearing room, just on the interwebs. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying,
Don't make me show queer as folk gifts, gifts and yeah, and really make you uncomfortable.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right? Yeah.
That was that. That piece of pop culture of Seinfeld saying, not that there's anything wrong with that. It was like the first moment that it started to happen. Working to queer as folk, and now we have on Twitter online, people are posting to Democratic staffers. Having gay sex in a hearing room. This is the evolution of how.
Right, and the only
works.
thing bad about it is that they did it at work, and that's just that's an HR party foul.
Well, they filmed it. They filmed. I mean, you could do it at work. You just
that's how we know. That's how we know. Again, if I gotta say, if you filmed it and you didn't get caught, we wouldn't be upset about the filming part because we never actually saw it. Right? That got out. And so the only reason we know they were breaking like work rules was because the filming got out. Right?
Don't film yourself having sex in public places, only in your bedroom.
Oh, they could have been just as bad if a laugh-in moment happened, like, hello. Okay. All right. Are you from receiving? Click.
Aren't you from Cardin's receiving office?
That's all right. Wow. Well, good luck with that, guys. Boy. Hey, whatever. I don't know whether I'm supposed to applaud. I'm caught in a progressive loop here. I don't know whether I'm supposed to. I support you, but I'm also leaving because this is not
weird.
Consensual, but also you're violating my personal. This is very rough. I don't know who to support the most right now.
I'm an ally, but goddamn, not in the Senate room.
Sorry, I would leave, but I really want you guys to feel comfortable. I'm not trying to shame you or anything like that. If I was a Republican, I would just start masturbating. But this is, I don't even know. I gotta go.
I went to Target and I bought a Pride shirt.
That's right. I'm going straight there.
Right.
He comes back later in a Pride shirt going, you guys still? Oh, they left. All right. Well, shit.
Well, fuck.
Hope they post the video.
I'll lock the door so no one else comes in.
Right.
Comes in the room.
Hey-o. So,
anyways.
So Tony Michaels, the Tony Michaels podcast, Monday through Friday, and
noon
he's on for a solid
2 full hours every single day. If the Sparklers, if Hal's not on, come check it out. If Hal's on, well, just come over here and watch Hal, for crying out loud.
Say hi. Yeah. It's good stuff. And it's, and a variety of things. And also, I will be, after you leave us, I will be jumping into Trump's musical. He's now got his, like, he's doing that televangelist music at the end.
Oh, really? This is interesting. I watched the NFT cards, but he's like, I tore my suit up into little pieces, and I'm gonna send you a piece of my suit if you just buy all the cards, buy all of them, and then I'll send you my suit. It's fucking weird stuff.
Which is like $5 fucking grand.
Yeah. So, like, well, I showed it to my son. I showed the video to my son.
Right.
And he's almost 18, and he was like, "Fuck, now I want one." He's like, he's like, I want to be able to say how stupid this is, that we had a president who got fucking, he's charged
so
on felonies, right? That he's selling pieces of his suit in the fucking mugshot. He's like, he's like, when else are you gonna have the opportunity to have something like that?
I would totally go see one of those in the Smithsonian.
Yeah,
like that is fucking amazing. You want to see the dumbest thing in the entire museum? Come here. They've got a Band-Aid size strip of this dickhead suit. Sealed,
and everyone's crowded around like it's the Mona Lisa. You know what I mean?
In bulletproof glass in case one of his dickhead followers tries to steal it. I've got $5,000, but I got a small mallet. You know, like bow. I'm freeing his suit, Jesus. You know, so good.
It's possible that that's going to happen. Now, here, I want to tell everyone, if you want to find me at wherever it is on the socials, on the broadcast, wherever it is, just go to theTonyMichaels.com. That's theTonyMichaels.com. You can find everything there.
This is how we do it. That's right. And for the record, when I'm back east for the Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour, which will be coming up in the next year, you and I are going to do a sit-down podcast version. We'll just live stream it to both groups at the same time.
Oh, yeah, great.
In the same room. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, sure.
I'm planning that.
That sounds great.
That's got to be a part of it. And then at some point, launching some sort of greater thing. As I've been behind the scenes, kind of like recrafting shit, you know.
Shh, don't tell the secret.
All right, because, well, it's an election year, and I think it's necessary. We got to have all hands on deck. And the important thing is no throwaway votes, no bullshit. And I'm not and if people think I'm vote shaming, good. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself if you vote for Trump or you let a vote for Trump, you know, go unanswered. And that's, honest to God, as you know, people know, check out my fucking label down there. I ain't got no shame about it. So, much love, brother. Thank you for coming on, and I will see you again soon.
And by the way, if we do a in-person, the only thing I request is that we do it in a Senate hearing room. Thank you, Hal, for...
Careful what you wish for.
I'm just saying, I'll show up in my straps and all that kind of stuff, and we can do a live show from the Senate hearing room. Thanks, Hal, for having me on.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You gotta come back on our show, too. Oh, by the way, Skip Fonz wanted me to say that he wants to do something, some kind of jamming with Johnny Million.
Johnny Million, absolutely.
Yeah, pass that on.
I got to drag him along. I think he has to so that I can, you know, perform more. He's got to be my guitar player for the increasing number of comedy songs I'm making for the Sexy Liberal tour. I think that's going to have to be part of the greater thing. I've great plans.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll see.
We'll check them out and come back on my show when you're not doing your show. I know it's difficult, but we'll figure that out.
Tuesday or Thursday, we can make it happen. Yeah. All right, peace, brother.
Thursdays, Tuesdays, great. We'll see you.
Love it. Okay, thanks, brother. There he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Michaels joining us on the show today. Tony Michaels, all right. Tony Michaels, yeah. Tony Michaels, woo. Tony Michaels, yeah. In a conference room. All right, that was a good time. He's not available, obviously, during the morning show, so we bring him on here. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like. I don't know what the fuck this tour is gonna say. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. What's it gonna say? He doesn't remember where he's supposed to start. Here it comes. No, he stopped again. He doesn't like doing this. He hates it all. This was a dumb idea, and he doesn't know where to go again. Get on with it.
But now we are a nation in decline.
A nation.
We are a failing nation.
A failing nation.
We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years. Where banks are collapsing and interest rates are skyrocketing.
Which is really bad if you're in real estate.
Where energy costs have reached the highest levels in our history. We are no longer energy independent,
fucking money right now.
energy dominant,
We're going to be dominant,
as we were
but now
just
getting spanked on the
a few
PPE.
short years ago.
Oh,
We are a nation that is begging
pay attention to
Venezuela
all the
and others
COVID
for
deaths.
Please help us, Joe Biden.
Please help
And
us,
yet we
Deutsche
have
Bank.
more liquid gold under our
Oh,
feet
we got
than
liquid
any
gold
other
under our
country
feet, and it just happens to
anywhere
be
in the world.
black.
We are a nation
Don't hold that
that
against
just recently heard
Oh,
that
no.
Saudi Arabia and
Oh
Russia
no, Saudi Arabia
will be
and
reducing
Russia.
their oil
They're
production.
not going to
while
lower
at the same
production,
time
which I know
substantially
is something
increasing
you all were
the price.
worried about.
And we met that threat by announcing
we
that we
met
will
that
no
threat.
longer be drilling for oil in
No,
large
we're not going to drill,
areas
baby,
of the West
drill.
or elsewhere, anywhere in our state.
Anywhere.
We are a nation that is
We're a
consumed
nation
by the radical left's Green New
Consumed by
Deal.
radical left communists and
everyone
tyrants and
knows that the
Stalinists and
Green
other
New
people that
Deal
Roseanne
is
was yelling
fake.
about earlier.
It is really the Green New Scam.
The Green
We
New
are a nation
Scam.
whose leaders are demanding all electric
Oh,
cars.
they want us to have
despite
all
the
electric
fact
cars with
that
no
they
radio.
Can't go far,
On a
cost too
9-volt
much,
battery, where can you
and whose
go?
batteries are produced in
Oh,
China.
I blame
with
Elon Musk,
materials
that
only
asshole.
available in China.
Oh, you
When
can
an
only buy it
unlimited
over
amount
there
of
because our
gasoline
workers
is
are too stupid to make them
available
here.
inexpensively in the United States,
Oh,
but is not
let me look at the
available
sticker
in
shock.
China.
Oh, I've got
now we
sticker
are
shock.
a nation that wants
We're
to
a
make
nation.
our revered and very powerful army
Powerful.
tanks
Our
the
tanks,
best in the world.
best in the
all
world.
electric,
Tanks are now
so
going to
that
be
despite
electric
the
and
fact they
silent,
are
so they can sneak up
also
on the
not able
enemy
to
and
go
blow them to
far.
smut. No, that's actually
Fewer
bad.
pollutants will be released into the air as we blast our
they'll
way
be
through
quiet
enemy
and they won't make a
territory,
lot of smoke, so they'll be
at least
harder
in
to
an
see from the
environmentally friendly
satellite.
way.
Oh, the satellite.
And they also want to make our jet fighters
Jet
with a
fighters that
green
run
stamp
on
of
dog
energy
farts.
savings through losing 15% efficiency. That's all we'll
15%
lose, sir.
efficiency,
That's
but
all
our
we'll lose.
pilots are all
But
gay and
allowing us to keep our
transgender and
enemies'
they can't
atmosphere
fly.
clean of emissions as we
Oh,
viciously
emissions.
and unceremoniously attack them at levels never
Unceremoniously.
seen. Who are these people
Unceremoniously.
that would do this to us?
Oh, who are these people? Who are they? Who are you?
So sad.
So very
It is so
sad.
sad.
So very
We are a nation that ended oil
Oh,
exploration
we're a nation.
and production in the U.S. just
Oh,
as the price of
It's
oil
down
reached
by about
an all-time
7%
high.
in certain areas,
What
but up
country would do such a
22% in all the
foolish
ones that count, and
and
therefore it
self-destructive
equals
thing?
out at about 12%
Can
better.
we
But
be
don't let that fool you.
energy
I hate
independent
Bidenomics with
or
all
even
my heart.
energy dominant ever again? Yes,
Oh,
so yes,
dominant
and
again,
quickly.
but we're not.
Says
We're
President
submissives.
Trump. Yes,
We're tying
so
us
yes,
up
and
and
quickly.
spanking our pee-pee with a riding crop.
Yeah.
We're all a Maplethorpe model
We are
now.
a nation that surrendered in
We surrendered
Afghanistan.
in Afghanistan.
Leaving dead soldiers,
by leaving.
American citizens, and
Oh,
$85 billion worth of the finest
music
military
died.
equipment in the world
We ran out.
behind. And also abandoning
We ran out of
Bagram,
music.
one of the biggest military
Oh, my
bases
God.
anywhere in the world. And only 1
keyboard
hour
player
away
is
from
dead.
where China makes its nuclear weapons.
Somebody play. Oh, hit play
One hour away.
again. We
Where
didn't
weapons
know
of mass
he was gonna go
destruction
this
are being
long.
produced, and we left it. One of
This
the
is a
biggest in
whole
the world.
different.
And we are a
track.
nation that
This is
allowed
the one with
Russia
the piano,
and Ukraine
and it's
to
in a
fight,
completely different key,
killing
but I'll
hundreds
be
of thousands
fine.
of people, and it will only get worse.
Oh,
It
it's
would
only
never
gonna
have
get
happened
worse.
with me as your
Never
president.
happened with him
and
as
for
your
4
president because
straight
we were
years,
too
it
busy
didn't
dying from
happen.
COVID and hiding
Likewise,
inside.
the horrifying attack on Israel
Horrifying.
would never have
Oh,
happened.
never have
They
happened.
wouldn't even have thought of doing such a
Oh,
thing.
they
if
wouldn't have even
President
thought of it,
Trump
even though that's
was in the
exactly
Oval
when they
Office.
thought of
They
it.
would not have even thought about it.
They wouldn't have thought
Iran was
about it. They
broke
would have just done
under
it
President
without even
Trump.
thinking, which it looks like
They didn't
did.
have the money to fund Hamas,
Oh,
Hezbollah,
they didn't have any money.
and all
They
of the
still
other
don't have any money, even though they
instruments of terror
made
that
money
they can now
while
fund very easily. But those sanctions were lifted
Those
by
sanctions-
a corrupt Biden administration.
Oh,
and
sanctions
now Iran is
a
a
hard
rich country
song.
with
Word, it
$200
doesn't
billion
really flow off the
and
tongue.
another $6 billion for
Sanctions.
hostages,
Oh, yes,
and
hostages.
$10 billion for electricity to Iraq. All compliments of the incompetent
Compliments.
Biden administration.
And 10 billion
And
to
China,
a country that's now an
with
ally.
Taiwan is
Oh,
next.
Taiwan. It's
We
next.
are a nation
They're
that
due.
allows radical left terrorists to violently attack our
They're
cities,
due.
leaving behind massive
Taiwan,
destruction and
everybody
death.
on it's gonna die.
And nothing happens to the
They haven't already,
criminals that
but
do these
it's
terrible
probably not that
things.
long, but it'll
There is
happen
no
after.
punishment. But
I
when
take over.
people who
It'll be
love our
Biden's
country
fault.
protest in Washington,
Oh, why
they
didn't they
become
lock up the black
hostages and
people?
prisoners,
Oh,
unfairly
hostages.
imprisoned for
Oh,
long periods of
unfairly,
time.
even though they were arrested.
We're
when
a
I
third
was
world nation
president.
that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political
my
party
legal
like never ever before.
Like
We've got
never
the
before, 'cause
Federal
we've
Bureau
never had
of
a criminal
Investigation
president like me
that
ever
won't allow
before.
bad election-changing facts
Bad,
to be
bad,
presented
bad.
to the public, and
they
which
wouldn't let
offers
us
$1
tell
billion
our story.
to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump
So
to
sad.
lie
Lying.
and say it was actually fact.
Actually,
Where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell
Oh,
was
no.
Russian disinformation.
when it
and the
doesn't even
FBI knew
exist.
it
Oh,
wasn't.
that's not what you were
But
going to say.
51 intelligence agents said it was. And a Department of
just
Justice
didn't know what to say they
that
were talking about.
refuses to
Something
investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt
I'm so glad I'm
and the worst
talking
president in the history of our
over this
country,
track because
who
I'm
is
basically
cognitively
just saying
impaired
the entire
and
speech
in no condition
over.
to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible
Oh, no, he's
nuclear
too
war,
old to deal with
which
old
would
problems.
be World War III, and far more devastating than any of the previous world wars.
All of them combined, especially the ones where we were just using arrows.
Because of the power of the horrible weaponry.
Horrible.
We are a nation that no longer has
I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's
fake
a COVID
news
bomb.
Is all you get.
It makes
And
everyone
they are indeed
homosexual.
the enemy of the people.
Yeah.
They refuse to discuss the Biden crime family.
They won't
but
even
enjoy
talk about
covering
them.
the false indictments of Donald J.
But they'll
Trump.
follow you
who's
everywhere.
done nothing wrong.
There's no
except
such thing as
win
bad
an
press
election.
except now.
We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed.
Free speech is no
and
longer
where
allowed,
crime is rampant
especially
and
if you
out
have
of
a
control,
microphone and two
like never
teleprompters
before.
and a camera on
We
you
are
at
a
all
nation that is
times.
allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon.
Thanks
and China
to
to use the trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And less than 3
That's
years
what all
ago, we had Iran,
militaries
China,
are for,
Russia,
but-
and North Korea in check.
They were
They
in
respected
check
us.
because they'd
They
written
were
me a
afraid
check.
of us.
They were afraid of
never
us
going to do a thing to us.
electing someone
and
else.
everyone knows it.
Everybody
Now
knows
Russia
this
and
except the
China are
people
holding
that aren't going to
summits
vote for
carve up
me.
the rest of the world.
Oh, it's so sad.
And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer admired,
No one
respected,
likes
or
us.
listened to.
And
on
everywhere
the
I
world
go,
stage.
someone laughs at me,
We are
and
a
I have to
nation
say,
that in
why are
many
you laughing
ways
at America?
has
And
become
they're like, have
a
you
joke.
seen your reflection?
And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, faith,
hostile
and
to
even
the
to
freedom
God.
that we have, that God gave us.
We are a
and
nation.
you don't believe me? Go to
whose
a
economy
monster
is
truck
collapsing
rally.
into a cesspool of ruin.
Oh, a cesspool.
Whose supply chain is broken.
It's
Whose
broken.
stores are not stocked. Whose deliveries
Start the
are not
loop over
coming, and
again
whose
because this is
educational
going on
system is
far
ranked
longer
at the bottom of every
than even the
single
last
list.
time.
We are a nation where large
It's gonna be
packs
the
of
last
sadistic
time.
criminals and thieves are allowed to go
Thieves
into
that stole the
stores and
election.
openly rob them, beat up
Using
and
legal
kill their
votes,
workers and customers,
insofar as I was
and
able
leave
to
with armloads
prove
of goods, but with no
arm
retribution.
loads. No
Where the
one gets
authority of our great
retribution.
police has been
Why is
taken,
God not
where
striking
their
them dead on
families
the
and
spot with a
pensions
bolt
have
of
been threatened,
lightning?
and their lives would be destroyed
These
for the mere mention
kleptomaniac
of the
armies.
words law and order. We are
Unless
a
you're a
nation
Capitol
where
Police
fentanyl
officer,
and
then
all other
fuck you.
forms of illegal drugs
Oh,
are
no.
easier to get than groceries to feed our beautiful families.
I can get
We have
drugs
become
at the
a
grocery store.
drug-infested, crime-ridden nation,
Oh, it's
which
terrible.
is incapable of
If you
solving
think eggs
even
are
the
expensive,
simplest
you
of
should see how
problems.
much meth costs.
We will institute the
Oh, no.
powerful death penalty for drug dealers.
Death penalty
where
for
each dealer
drug
is
dealers,
responsible for the deaths
just
during
like
their
Jesus
lives of
would want us
500
to.
people
Hell
or
yes.
more. This is the
Oh.
only thing that will work.
The
Let
only
me
thing that
know
will work is to
when
kill
you're
people
ready.
who are only
Mothers will never again be
expected
forced
of
to
a
watch
drug
their
crime.
children overdosing
Oh,
and
no.
hopelessly dying in their arms, screaming, "What can I do? What can I do?" We are
Maybe
a nation
use this,
whose once revered airports
stick this
are a
in the neck
dirty,
and it
crowded
supposedly
mess.
counteracts
You
the
sit
why are
and
you
wait
yelling
for
at the
hours
sky?
and
You
then
could just
are notified
Narcan.
that the
It's just
plane won't leave,
one shot. He
and they have
could have
no
lived.
idea when
Why are
they
you
will.
yelling? I don't
Where
know
the
why no
ticket
one is.
prices have tripled.
Oh,
They don't have the
because
pilots
people
to
wanna
fly the
go.
planes.
They
They don't
so-
seek qualified air traffic control.
All the airplanes
And
are
they
flying
just don't
without a
know
pilot
what
in
the
them.
hell
They're
they
being
are doing.
controlled by
We are
Dick
a nation
Cheney
that
and
has
the
lost
military
its
industrial
confidence, willpower, and strength. We are
willpower,
a nation
just like I have at
that
the
has
outlet
lost its
bar
way.
at Mar-a-Lago.
But we are not going to allow this horror to continue.
We won't,
3
even though it'll
years
continue
ago,
for about
We
11
were
months
a
and
great
change.
nation, and we will soon be a great nation again.
Such a great nation. Yeah, yeah.
Big finish.
It was
Oh,
hardworking
he's doing
patriots
it.
like you
He's
who
still
built
got
this
shit. He's gonna
country.
say, "I'm sorry,
And it
I
is
thought he was
hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country.
That's right,
We will
it's all
fight
on
for
you.
America like
You
no
gotta
one
give me
has
$10
ever fought
to
before.
pay
With you at
my
my side,
legal
we will
fees.
demolish
I'm broke
the deep
as fuck
state.
right
We will
now.
drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists.
I'm broke as fuck
We
right
will throw
now.
off the sick political
We will throw
class.
off the
We
sick
will rout the
political
fake
class.
news
We're
media.
gonna rout the.
We will drain the swamp and we
Drain
will
the
liberate
swamp.
our country from these tyrants and
Liberate.
villains once and for
Unless
all.
you're a woman
we
or
will be
a gay
liberated.
couple, and then which case I guess you're kind of fucked.
Like those patriots before us,
Oh yes,
we will
like
not bend, we will
Yes.
not break,
Unless we have bone spurs.
We will never give in.
We will not
we will never give up,
yield.
and we will
We'll
never,
just drive
ever
into the
back
intersection
down.
without even fucking
With your
looking.
support, we will
How
go
am I
on
supposed
to
to see
victory,
with all my
the
Trump
likes
flags
of
in the
which
back?
no one
I
has
was
ever
looking
seen
and you were in my
before.
blind spot. Fuck
We will
you.
evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House, and
Because
we will take back our
I
country
feel
on
evicted
election
because I
day
lost last time and they made me leave.
2024.
So that's the language I have to use. Ooh, ah. Oh yes, so good. Point, point, thumb up your ass. Point, point. Oh,
The great silent majority is rising like never before.
that's
And under
why
our
they're
leadership,
silent. You
the
can't hear them because the
forgotten
music's too
men and
loud.
women will be forgotten no longer.
Oh, I
We
can't
will
remember
love
their
our
names right
country.
now, but you'll have to
We
trust
will
me.
take care of our country.
That's
we
right.
will pray to God for our
We will
strength and for our
the
liberty.
strength to
we
sweep
will
the
pray
streets.
for God, and we will pray with God.
We'll pray
We are
on
one
God
movement,
and under God
one
and
people,
beside God
one
and
family,
near God and
one
away from
glorious nation
God
under
and
God.
up God's
And together
keister,
we
yeah.
will make America,
America.
powerful again.
Dangerous again, matter, and we will
We will make America
wealthy.
wealthy again.
Make the American wealthy
We will
people
make
even wealthier again. My
America
wah, wah, wah.
strong again.
We'll make America strong again, stronger than this
We will
fucking
make
keyboard player who keeps
America proud
farting
again.
out on me. But I don't
We
mean
will
gay pride.
make America safe again.
And they won't be able to break into my
will
safe
make
at Bedminster.
America great
Gag again.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Oh.
Reno.
Hey.
Thank you, Reno. Thank you, Nevada. God bless you all. God bless you.
Hold on, I'm losing again. Clap, clap. Okay, hold on, check that out. Yeah, okay, clap, 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 clap. So good, clap, clap. Thank you, everybody. Squirt, squirt, hand job right on my forehead. Okay, done, right on my chin. Yeah, I'll jerk you right off. Thank you, bunch of jerk offs. That's why I do that. You guys, hey, front row Joes, yeah, jerk offs, all of you. Okay, bye. That's what I'm saying. You guys know sign language. Oh, ow, oh, my bone spurs are killing me. And enough of that shit. Well, get me the fuck out of here. Don't turn the lights on. I don't want to have to face these assholes. One of them's going to turn on their camera and it's going to be like, I got to go. Give me some hats to throw and let's beat it. Quick, before RSBN changes. That's the Trump campaign's cameras, actually. Before they change the... dude, your head is... All right. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another Donald Trump sing-along for the just absolute ridiculousness of this entire thing. What a jackhole. I didn't pre-watch that one, obviously. And I love that the music just gave out and they were like, he's not gonna... He told them, yeah, that went too long. You got to give me an out. You got to stop playing the music at a certain point. And they're like, okay. And they're like, oh, he didn't mean now. Oh, he didn't mean now. Oh, he didn't mean now. What no, he did not. Yeah, no. Well, they cut away from the dancing, the whole like the Elaine dance that he does. No, he doesn't. The song is "Hold On, I'm Coming," which I believe is a was what was playing in the headphones of the two staffers. I'm kidding, simmer. That it wouldn't be that song. It'd be "Relax, don't do it when you wanna suck it to it." All right. I like, who the fuck needs to do that whole speech? Like, what a waste of time. Good Lord. Meanwhile, you want to see two happy dudes? Can we do this? I got time. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. We have great guests now in the afternoon show occasionally, like the great Tony Michaels. And of course, musical entertainment. What more do you want, honestly? Hit that like, subscribe. We hit the 60K mark. Now we're shooting for 100. We need 1,000 Patreon people to get us to the next level. So think about joining. It'd be a lovely thing. And then, of course, we shall see what we shall see. But we need 100,000 on the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, follow the Facebook page, and then of course 1,000 Twitch subscribers. So if you're on Twitch, if you're on Twitch, subscribe. This is what happens when I talk too fast for my tongue. I mean, can you blame me?
He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe it.
So, yeah, very easy. So, yeah, this is Rudy has apparently been locked out of his apartment, that's outside Steve's building, and he won't let him in. And this is the title of this one: Democrat judges disallows. Judges disallow, plural on only one, not two. So Democrat judge disallows. I don't know why it's multiple, whatever. Giuliani from defending against charges. Rudy Giuliani explains. Good, because I don't know what the ever-loving fuck he's talking about. He can present whatever defense he wants. So let's see. I'm curious. Hold on.
Now I have to analyze this. Obviously, possibly we'll move for a new trial.
We've already seen this part.
It was going to
his guys drag him away. They're like,
okay, the lead story today. By the way, it's Saturday, 16 December, year of our Lord 2023. We're both live in AmFest with the team, also in the nation's capital. We'll be shifting the flag here.
I'm glad it at least admits that Washington is still the nation's capital, and he hasn't just decided to go with some old like Confederate fort in South Carolina.
In a little while, out to AmFest in Greater Phoenix. I want to thank Natalie, Jane, and Captain Bannon for holding down the lead story everywhere. Giuliani must pay massive fine. Giuliani, the beloved New York Times, which I know is one of Rudy's favorite reads, has got it as the
used to be. Now that's ironic.
One of the lead stories: Rudy Giuliani finds price of lying is $148 million. MSNBC and CNN, literally since this went down.
Okay, just get to Rudy
by Skype.
Where the thanks that he's coming by a Skype, because you need to know that. I guess
Mayor Giuliani. First off, thank you for being here. How are you doing? First off,
how's your attempt to flee the country going?
I'm doing fine, Steve. I expected it, of course.
Yes, because you committed the crime, and therefore
at the moment the case was brought in D.C. rather than in Georgia. The case was brought by an associate of Hunter Biden and a person who represented Burisma, the crooked oil company.
Oh, so they know what you've been up to in other countries, so they particularly hate your guts. Also, D.C. is where you committed the crime, dumb fuck, not where the victim is.
Paid the bribes to the Bidens. So it was obviously a Biden case. These two so-called poor women had about a $10 million legal group.
Oh, okay, hang on.
Yeah, but I gotta say, they were looking to benefit on the other side. Anybody fights a big corporation or a deep pockets individual, a lot of times the lawyer, is, even if they're an expensive lawyer, they're going to take it on the back end, if you know what I'm saying.
Hang on. Let's stipulate before we get rolling. The reason I want to do this kind of came as a shock to most of your huge fan base on War Room, and quite frankly, even the War Room. We have not followed this in the level of detail we've been following from the president. So I want to stipulate. I want to make sure that we're not going to get you in more trouble, or you're not going to get yourself in more trouble, or maybe you're not in trouble and you're going to tell us that. So Gottlieb.
Yeah, he's well beyond fucking trouble.
Gottlieb is the lawyer. So just tell us, how did this happen? How did it get to federal court? It seems like, and we're hearing this from me, look at you.
Because he was the president's lawyer at the time.
Didn't put on a defense. This kind of came out of nowhere. It looks like the jury, I don't know if didn't find you guilty because they didn't even put you guilty, but they came in with this huge thing.
It's not guilty or innocent. It's a civil trial, dumbass.
Very confusing. So I think the first thing we need to do is have you break it down.
It is very confusing. And I was an attorney.
And to just, tell us what's going on, because $148 million.
And I have to say, this is my first time seeing Nosferatu in sunlight. It's very strange.
Is a lot of cash, and so I think people are your fan base is worried about you, Rudy. I just want to make sure everybody wants to make sure you're doing okay, and that this thing is going to get to a positive conclusion. And whatever we do,
No.
Dude, let's not bury ourselves. Don't bury yourself anymore if that's even a possibility. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know what the last one means, but I can tell you that this is an absurd verdict of 148 million, and the case was even more absurd than the verdict because it wasn't a case that any.
Yeah, that should solve it. It wasn't a case, and it was absurd, and it was absurd. Which that'll overturn it. I'm check your phone. Maybe somebody's texting you that you don't have to pay the 148 million.
Nobody would recognize who's an American or English lawyer. I never put on a defense. I was never allowed to put on a defense.
Bullshit.
The judge found me guilty, libel, based on failure to turn over.
Failure to turn over your defense?
Several documents after turning over thousands, none of which.
Yeah, I gave them. I poured documents onto them. Everything except the ones they were asking for, the ones where I admitted guilt.
Have a bearing on liability, but maybe on the ability to pay. I've never heard of a case like that where a judge finds liability based on the failure to turn over tangentially relevant documents.
Tangentially. It's your communications, fuckwad.
But that's who the judge is. The judge is Beryl Howell. She was the chief judge. She's the judge who intervened because she felt the January 6th defendants weren't getting enough time in jail, which was unethical.
Why?
Unusual and.
Yeah, well, so was January 6th. I don't know. There's not a lot of living jurists that have experienced something like Jan 6. So I'm guessing that, you're dealing with an extraordinary situation. You're going to make a lot of parallels, but that's the best you can do.
Displayed a great bias. She's made comments making it clear that she
thinks you're an asshole. Well, I mean, again, say what you will about her, but a broken clock is even right twice a day.
It is Donald Trump and those around him a danger to the republic, including me.
Yeah, so far batting 1,000.
Recently, she made a speech right in the middle of this case, I think, or right shortly before, betrayal.
Well, I got to say, do you feel like maybe working those details into your actual memorization cycle, considering they work? It has to do with how you're going to pay $148 million. Do you know how many details I would have fucking memorized? I have more details memorized about his fucking case than he does. And I wasn't in danger of losing $148 million. What the ever-loving shit?
Her biases. And all throughout the case, she didn't conduct a trial. She conducted an inquisition.
Dude, were you on a rack? Did you have your testicles cut off? Were you dunked underwater until you came? Get an inquisition. Get the fuck out of here. You had a civil trial. Stop. Just stop with this shit. Look, when kids say, I got to get home by 8 o'clock or my parents are going to kill me, we know that's an exaggeration and a joke unless the kid doesn't show up again the next day and it was 8:15. But that said, most people know that a kid that's a normal exaggeration in conversation. Even in some relationships, my wife is going to kill me. My husband's going to kill me if I do this, if I buy her, she's going to kill me. That's on an interpersonal level. That kind of exaggeration is important. But all these assholes who are talking about this in terms of any legal problems they have as an inquisition or a fucking witch hunt, there is a historical context to which when you talk about those things as fucking real, right? When you're talking about them as a real thing, as opposed to an exaggeration. If you use them in an exaggeration, that's their function because it's like adding on crack to something or on meth or on acid in an 80s comedy joke that happened all the time. You're bloviating a little bit, which is fine. But when this asshole is making a one-to-one comparison between his civil trial where he's just a fucking asshole and he endangered the lives of these two election workers wantonly and with a total disregard for their safety based on bullshit for years. And he's like, I was subject to an inquisition. Are you the same height you were when you went in, dumbass?
To cut out every defense that I had.
You don't have one. What the fuck does that mean? How did she cut it out?
First, I couldn't defend myself on whether I had committed libel or not. I wasn't allowed to put in the videotapes of them doing what I said they did.
It was already part of the record.
Which I could have demonstrated to the jury.
No, that was already part of it.
I couldn't call witnesses.
Yeah, you can.
Who would support what I said. I couldn't put documents on and reports from credible sources that said that fraud took place there. How am I going to defend myself? Then,
first of all, your document, again, there's only two ways he can defend himself in this situation. One is he's got to prove that case, and he can't because they've gone through this, both of these women and the entire election in Georgia, in Fulton County, like no fraud on the scale anywhere near what would be required to change anything. And I guarantee if there's anybody who tried to vote twice, it was a maggot. That's just the reality. One of the other reasons why Republicans don't want him to look in red states especially is because they're like, fuck, Trump lost by way more. Every time they looked, what'd they do? They found more Biden votes that were chucked out or not counted than Trump votes. Every time they did a recount, it always benefited Biden, which means if there was an intentional, suppressing of certain votes, it was Biden votes across the board. Secondly, all this shit, it doesn't matter. You can't defame somebody unless you have the reasoning. You literally have, especially if you're accusing them of crime. That's where the word alleged comes in all the time. He didn't use the word alleged. He went way far past that. And being the president's lawyer, the standard's higher.
She decides we're going to have a trial just on damages. So once again, I want to put these things in to show that I didn't damage them. I put in no evidence. I wasn't allowed to.
You can't prove you didn't damage them with the same shit they'd already seen.
And when I said I would take the stand, she said to be very careful because she had already ruled that I was lying based on documents I didn't turn over that she never saw.
Right, lying by omission. We're familiar with the concept. And that would be the whole truth part. That's a violation.
Could hold me in contempt.
Right. Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So you don't believe in truth in general. And the second and third one, you absolutely wouldn't even attempt.
And I know she has a propensity to put Trump people in jail, even for longer periods of time than the prosecutors recommend. And she was sending me a clear signal that if she didn't agree with what I said, I might very well go into jail. I mean, perjury to her is the truth to me.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Because she's turned the world around.
No, she does not have that power. She could turn the beat around if she's a Miami Sound Machine fan. Or is that Diana Summers? I forget. Because they covered it.
And never did any of those jurors see a single piece of evidence that many Americans have seen about how these women acted that would have been totally contrary to their unrebutted, uncorroborated testimony.
No. Here's the thing. You can't call something that requires the governor of Georgia to fly up to D.C. and go, yeah, no, we already worked that out. Here's the report. The report's in the file. The judge has already seen the report from the governor and the lieutenant governor and the election workers and all this. They've gone through that shit. They don't, you can talk about this shit all you want. Gloria Esteban, yes.
It's
Miami Sound Machine.
It's a sham of a trial. There's no court in America that wasn't a Trump deranged court.
Estefan, did I say Esteban? Yeah, Estefan.
Court that wouldn't reverse it immediately. No matter who the person was, you can't convict somebody without any evidence.
First of all, you're not convicted. It's a civil trial. Period. The rules of evidence in it are much lower. You could present anything you fucking want. The reason you didn't is because you thought, I'll throw it on purpose and then I'll go to an appeals court and find a court that Trump put somebody into and they'll reverse it for me.
I want to go back over that because the media is sitting there going, you talked a big game, you had all this evidence, and then you never presented it, and you said you were going to be you said you were going to.
Yeah. Hey, Rudy, real quick, what color's the laptop? Because the model year you're talking about, there was a black one available and a silver one available. I'm just curious. Also, the sticker on the Hunter Biden laptop, was it a laminate sticker, like plastic looking, a vinyl sticker, or was it one of those Backstage Pass fabric stickers? I'm just curious. It's a little detail, but I'd love to hear it. I'm just curious.
Be a witness in your own defense. You didn't do that. But I just want to make sure the audience understands Judge Beryl Howell is the judge, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Elise Stefanik put a ethics complaint in yesterday about her because of, I guess, a speech she gave or a talk she gave at some group where she said some comments, I guess, about J6 and other things that Elise Stefanik thought were inappropriate. So she's filed an ethics complaint on her.
Because she's made a judgment?
Judge Howell's also the one that Julie Kelly comes on all the time.
You do realize that a judge can say something about, I don't know, a mass event, but that doesn't mean that everybody that comes in front of them that's accused of being at or participating in that is guilty automatically. You recognize that, right? It's like saying the Holocaust was terrible. The camp guards were every bit as complicit as the soldiers around them or Hitler himself. That doesn't mean everybody you bring in front of me and say they're a camp guard, I'm just going to go, oh, fuck that guy. I'm going to need to know for real that they were, because here's the thing. I'm really interested in putting away those camp guards. That's what I want. I think they deserve to all go to jail forever or capital punishment or whatever your particular belief is. So I don't want to fuck up my record and have some of these assholes get away because I went after the wrong person. So I gotta. That's why we have rules of evidence and standards.
Who's done the most thorough job on the J6 and goes over all the details of why she thinks she's being out of line as a judge.
Out of line. Ouch.
So Rudy, just explain simply for people that are not lawyers.
Like yourself. For people who used to be lawyers and kind of sucked at it to begin with.
How?
For, and dumb it down for people who don't shower either. Just to.
How does a judge, a sitting federal judge,
stand?
Not allow someone to put on a defense and be able to provide all the evidence that's relevant in a trial where someone says you defamed them? Why could?
Yeah, how did this work?
You not show? Why did she not allow you to show that evidence that you believe shows that you didn't defame them?
By the way, bullshit alert. Just telling you. Just get used to the idea. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the first place, she did it because she said I didn't give them certain documents on my current financial situation, which of course have nothing to do with whether I defamed or
not. Yeah, no, that was during the financial portion of it, the judgment, not the beginning about the liability in the first.
From the fact that I wouldn't turn over documents about my current situation or failed to, doesn't show that I defamed them. For something as serious as that, I mean, for something like that, you give a penalty, a fine, an order. You don't just quickly grab an entire case and say the person's guilty. Second, when we got...
Well, how would you give an order or a fine without quickly grabbing the case and saying the person's guilty? You can't give an order or a fine. What the fuck? Lori King says, Hal, I totally agree with you since I'm an expert when it comes to electronic devices discovery and production of documents. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to keep a standard that's up to yours.
To damages, and I came into court and the press said,
well, hang on. Let's hold on. Hang on. Hang on. Let's not get to damages. In the discovery, did you actually turn over documents?
I sat for a deposition for 5 hours.
That's not the same thing.
Take the Fifth Amendment, answered every one of their questions. I gave them every document that was relevant to what they did and what I saw.
Oh, that relevant. Based on whose idea of what was relevant?
They have all the documents that people have seen on television of them counting ballots and the manner in which they were counting ballots, which is as clear as you can get. They had all that. It was all excluded.
So hang on. You gave a 5-hour deposition, and that was all allowed in as evidence. And you gave every document they requested.
No, it wasn't allowed as evidence. You gave a 5-hour deposition, and the judge didn't allow the deposition as evidence.
Requested.
I gave every document they requested.
No, you didn't.
Except for your current financial condition. Is that it?
Yeah, and part of it was because of confusion. The FBI seized my documents, and I got back certain ones. I didn't get back other ones. And I was sorting through them to try to figure out which ones were still available. Some of the documents I'm penalized for, I never got back from the FBI, but she didn't bother to listen to that. But what I can...
Also, what the fuck are you talking about? Who has only a paper copy of shit? What are you talking about? Like fucking limo receipts? What the shit? Taxis, meals at airports?
Assure you is none of them had to do with whether I did it or not. Everything about whether I did it or not was kept out because it would prove that I didn't. But she did it again. So when I came...
Somebody's doing it, that's all I know.
The other day and said, I'm going to tell the whole story. I was going to tell the whole story to reduce damages.
Uh-huh. And then you decided it wouldn't reduce damages, I'm guessing?
I was going to put in the tapes. I was going to put in the reports. I was going to put in the...
Yeah, you were, and then you didn't.
Eyewitnesses. I was going to put in some of the additional tapes that we have and new evidence that we have. They made a motion, the defense did, to hold me in contempt for that because I contradicted her ruling. And they made a motion in limine, that means to limit me, and she ruled that I could do none of that.
Because you didn't do it in a timely fashion, because you were holding on to shit. Dude, you didn't walk in there going, aha, here's the tape. I got the rest of this where it shows that they were scheming and talking about this. I've got a phone video of them doing the actual crime up close. And, Your Honor, boom, Perry Mason moment. It's, yeah.
And that if I did, I'd be held in contempt.
Hang on.
Nobody's held in contempt for entering material into evidence. And trying to do it in the penalty phase after you refuse to turn it over in the actual trial phase is just trying to sway the jury or gack up the system.
This is where, hang on a second.
This is where people are like, is this guy fucking stupid?
Wait, slow down. For non-lawyers, that's a little confusing.
He said it's trial by terror.
They said if you presented the evidence that you have, that you relied upon, that showed you didn't defame them, their lawyers came forward and said you should be held in contempt if you put that in. And do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, no one understands that correctly because it's fucking gibberish.
I would be violating her ruling that I had lied. If I did anything to contradict her ruling that I lied, either in the testimony that I gave or in the documents that I put in, I would be held in contempt. So,
if you lied again, you mean?
She excluded all the documents that I was going to put in.
Are you waiting for a bus or?
She excluded every other piece of evidence that I was going to put in.
Because you didn't put them in during the trial phase?
She excluded my lawyer from cross-examining on that.
First of all, your lawyer wouldn't be cross-examining on it. He'd be examining on it at this point because they weren't on the stand. We're talking about why you didn't take the stand.
And she gave me advice on whether to testify or not. And told me she didn't think I should testify.
That's what they always tell people.
Because I would expose myself to perjury.
Right. Because she's seen what she saw your deposition.
And that she really regretted not having held me in contempt before.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have to say, it's probably a running contempt. I don't know if it's just legal. I think you're a contemptuous person.
She also told me at another point she didn't like me.
Well, okay, again, another sign she has good judgment.
This was not a trial.
Okay, Rudy, hang on for...
All right, when did she say this? Did you whisper it as you were leaving? Hot mic?
Yeah, hang over a second. I want to get into... So the question I asked you for the break and to think about, why did
what the fuck are you talking about? I think is a solid
judge
question.
Ruled that you were lying. I think the audience has to understand that, or at least I do, because I still don't understand it. But anyway.
Right. We don't understand. None of us do. What the fuck?
We're going to take a short commercial break. America's mayor.
We're going to take a break and let him sort his gibberishy bullshit thoughts.
Rudy Giuliani. And, I mean, it's hard enough to think through the Trump stuff because they're coming at him every different direction. But this thing kind of came out of nowhere. You just got to help me explain. Just explain to me. How does a judge rule that you're lying? And I want to know what she ruled that on. And then that rolls into that. She uses that, or that's a predicate that you're not trustworthy enough, I guess, to even get on a stand and give testimony. So therefore, you never present a case. Because I think your followers and your fans are sitting there going, Rudy had all this evidence. Why didn't he? And the media is just crushing you on this. Why didn't he present?
Yeah. Also, you do realize you're asking this question of the pathological liar that was just found guilty in this slander case. Maybe ask, I don't know, ask his fucking attorney. I'm dead serious. Have his attorney on. Have his attorney explain the machinations of the court case.
In his case, if he's got this evidence, and why didn't he take the stand? And
well, that's the problem right there, I think. You hear that part? If he has all this evidence. Aha.
In his own defense. So we got a couple of minutes to explain that one to me because I'm more confused than ever.
Uh-huh.
Brother.
I hope that I explained it, but let me try.
No, you didn't.
Again, the reality is that she did not find me liable based on any evidence because there was no evidence.
Yeah, there was. Your statements about the two of them. He's on a Skype thing. Your statements about the two of them is the evidence. It's because it's in this particular civil case because they are saying it is. They are presenting it as evidence. They are presenting your statements about Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss as their evidence. You have a responsibility to make it not evidence. To say that's not evidence. That's based on stuff that I saw that I was acting in good faith when I said that. Or it's that they made it up, which they didn't do. So these are public statements.
Not having produced the discovery she thought I should produce. None of
again. The fuck are you talking? Say it.
Which had anything to do with liability. Had nothing to do with whether I did something right or wrong, but how much money I would owe if I did. And a lot of it was because of the FBI having seized my documents and then finding me not guilty.
All right. That has nothing to do with why you didn't present your case. It's real simple. Why in the liability phase or in the trial phase did you not present your evidence? Why didn't you not offer it as evidence? Or why was it rejected specifically? Jesus, this dude's dumb.
Second, when we came to the trial on damages, she wouldn't allow me to put in any of the evidence with regard to what I would say was my innocence. Because
yeah, it's too late. You already lost the part. The liability is how much you owe. You don't get to put in exculpatory evidence in the punishment phase. That's what an appeal is for, dumbass.
Because that would contradict her ruling and be contempt.
Right. Because you're not giving your financials because you're trying to hide how much money you have so that they can't get damages or people don't realize how much money you have. And so they're going to, the thing that they're supposed to infer your worth and get the payment out of that from, that's that part of the phase. But the previous part, you can't bring in evidence that says, I'm not even guilty because it's a waste of everybody's time. You've already been found liable.
And then she cut my lawyer off in any questions on cross-examination as being outside the scope of the case. And she warned me in a little speech that she gave that if I got on the witness stand and I testified the way I spoke out of court about being innocent and what I could prove, she would be required to hold me in contempt.
Right, because you couldn't prove it.
And that means going to jail.
Well, we can all hope.
Given the fact that I would not have been able to get anything in, I know she puts people in jail. She did a heck of a job with the J6 people.
I think so. And she is a judge.
Kind of bloodthirsty. She was the one who...
Bloodthirsty. Did any of them get capital punishment?
Urged that they weren't going to jail for long enough periods of time. I had no doubt that she would do that. And
wouldn't that make her time thirsty?
I had no doubt that she found me guilty the day the case was assigned to her. The woman has no ability to be objective at all in any case involving Donald Trump. She is.
This doesn't involve Donald Trump. Not really. Not yet, anyway. And partly the only reason it doesn't involve Donald Trump is because he punted it down to you. And that's what shit Rudy said.
A court that
Rudy made me say that. He's doing the same thing that Rudy's lawyer was doing with Gateway Pundit.
Becoming a travesty. And I'm glad this happened because maybe it'll get attention for the J6 case.
Yeah, totally. That's what it's doing.
Where people were treated equally like it's a Nazi court.
Like it's a Nazi court. Yeah, because everybody in the Nazi court where people were getting hanged, those people all got 36 months out in half.
Without any kind of
hang on for a second. Hang on for a second. I'm still fucking confused. What are you talking about?
Hang on a second. Hang on. The J6 are the J6, and they got they're fighting. They got their own fights, and I know they're in
They certainly do, with reality.
A terrible situation. But I got to focus on you because this is it could be a death knell.
Could be a death knell.
Are you? And let's assume everything you said is accurate in the timeline.
Why the fuck would we do that?
How did this happen in the United States? What you're laying out is actually sounds worse than what's happening in Manhattan with the judge up there.
I don't know. He's an old man sitting in the sun. What part?
Against President Trump in his financial situation. How did this happen in the United States of America? You were the head of the Southern District of New York, the premier U.S. attorney group up there historically. They're out of control now also, but when you ran it, they weren't.
All right, you didn't get an answer to your other fucking question. Get on with it.
If everything you say is true and all these rulings and the process is true, how did this happen in
That's a bunch of ifs.
United States, and why are no civil liberty groups, all these lawyer groups? Where's Alan Dershowitz? Where are all these guys screaming bloody murder?
I think he's at Little St. James Island, isn't he?
About what happened to Rudy Giuliani.
Well, maybe they don't know about it, but a lot of them don't scream bloody murder. A lot of the civil liberties groups have become anti-civil liberties. They support a fascist system of government. My goodness, people shouldn't be surprised. This isn't the first case where they started acting like a court in Nazi Germany.
Jesus Christ. Get over yourself, for fuck's sake. It's Nazi Germany, it's an inquisition, it's a witch hunt. Yeah, you're being burned at the stake and stretched and hung by the fucking Hague. What the shit?
It's going on for 5 or 6 years. That's what I defended Donald Trump against.
You paid a giant fucking fine, man. You're not getting killed. He called it a death knell, not an actual death.
I mean, every one of these cases has been conducted on principles that violate our Constitution.
You believe that there shouldn't be libel or slander or defamation laws?
They trashed our Constitution the moment they put in a surveillance of my iCloud account the day I represented Donald Trump and kept it for 3 years without telling me, and won't give me the warrant that supports it, even though they found no evidence of the crime.
Well, maybe they did, and that's next.
So this has been going on,
thank you, Mary.
I believe, since Holder and Obama, and it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, this is his slander case against Shamos and Ruby Freeman is an offshoot of Fast and Furious.
And because we ignore it, they become bold. This judge happens to be one of the worst. Is she worse than the judge in New York?
I hope not.
I don't know. But her rulings are absurd. I mean, they don't even...
Yeah, absurd doesn't help me, dumb fuck. Why the fuck didn't you, put on a defense? What the hell?
Even fit anything arguably legal. You can't...
He had evidence. He has the Jan 6 phone records. Yeah, absolutely.
And based on dispute over discovery, you can't hold somebody liable of a major offense without putting any evidence of that offense or giving them even one chance to refute it when they have incontrovertible incontrovertible evidence that it's true.
No, it's quite controvertible, I would like to say. It, as a matter of fact, was wholly and completely controverted. You tit.
Rudy, just quickly, where?
What the fuck are you talking about?
What's your status? Are you going to try for a retrial in a different location or the different judge? Are you going to try to appeal this? Just walk people through the process.
Well, we're going to try to appeal it. I mean, another interesting
yeah, no doubt.
thing is this case should have been brought in Georgia. It was brought in D.C. to get it before the most anti-Trump set of jurors and judges in the world.
Okay, hang on, asshole. Let me get this straight. You think you fared worse in D.C. than you would have in front of a jury in Atlanta, in the district these ladies are from? You serious? Where the ever-loving fuck do you think you're going to get a jury in Atlanta? Shit, you'd probably spend half your time trying to just find people that don't know these ladies personally, you dumb motherfucker. And his lawyer would have to start excluding women who dress just like them. Like,
I mean, if you're a lawyer, you will tell your client, or malpractice comes about, if you're a Trump person, you're not getting a fair trial in the District of Columbia.
Why?
Now, if you don't warn your client of that, I would say you're guilty of malpractice. Go check that with any lawyer who still has a bit of common sense.
Says the guy with a podcast called Common Sense, who has lost his law license.
So they brought it in the worst court they could.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. There are definitely some areas of Fulton County and Atlanta that would absolutely go, this motherfucker.
Even worse than Georgia, where you might get lucky and get a fair judge. And then this judge went way off.
You mean somebody that Kemp or Raffensperger put in? Yeah.
Off the rails. From the very, very beginning. Even the discovery. I was being discovered for other cases because these people are working for the Bidens, not for the
discovered for other cases.
Women. They were asking me questions that had to do with Trump's liability, other people's liability. Basically, they wanted me to rat. You know, that's what's going on. They offered me settlements, and I told them to go to hell.
Uh-huh. Well, they always will offer settlements, and stupid people will often tell them to go to hell. Also, one of the reasons why they might have asked you about what Trump told you to do is to kind of lay off some of the blame on him. But it was all you, dumbass.
This was a
Rudy
stalking action.
It was a stalking action
for Biden, and also to shut up the guy that's done the most damage to him. Remember, when he came into the campaign, he sent out a letter to the press to keep Giuliani off the media. He succeeded in doing that eventually with the hard drive.
Oh, there we have it again, kids. The motherfucker can't say laptop. He's always got to say hard drive because he flew to Europe and he bought the hard drive from the Russians in Ukraine while Trump was president and brought it back. And he keeps saying hard drive. So does Bannon, by the way. When they're supposed to say laptop from hell, both of them keep saying hard drive from hell because they're fucking stupid.
He defamed me, calling me a Russian pawn, which has proven to be 100% a lie by Biden. And very.
No, Biden didn't prove that you weren't a Russian pawn himself. Also, you think pawn and agent are the same thing. You're like, I wasn't an agent for these people. No, you're an easily dupable asshole who's looking out for himself and to some degree his buddy Trump.
Damaging to me. It cost me $6-7 million of law practice.
No, you lying in front of legislatures cost you that.
So I'm hoping I'll get back from him any money I might need. But in any event, this is going to be thrown out. This award is so absurd. Even the amount of money, if you just look at the amount of money for the damages they're talking about, it's like... I
got to say, the idea of this asshole moving in with Alex Jones in an apartment together It's a sitcom waiting to happen.
A jury that was just inflamed.
I'm just telling you, Rudy, you can't clog up the toilet like that. I'm not clogging it. I'm sitting on it. Look, I gotta go. Just pee between my legs again. All right.
By one side of the case and prohibited from hearing the other.
We're both bald and out of our minds and still oddly convinced we're attractive. Hey, it's the Alex and Rudy show.
Only happens
where acid reflux wins the day.
In a fascist country. Wake up, America. Biden's America, where he's got control, those democratic cities, is a fascist country.
Okay, so those democratic cities where Biden's got control, and he's the president of the whole country, but what have you. Yeah, he's got control of it. It's a fascist system and a fascist government. And so you're cool, I guess, with sitting outside a fucking apartment building in where, the Bronx, Cleveland, Toledo, where the fuck are you? Broadcasting over Skype your location. You're not the slightest bit concerned in a fascist society that there might be a Jewish space laser pointed at you right now, or are you full of shit?
Rudy, how do people get to you on the...
Oh, fuck off. How do they find you? Rudy, give us your social medias, and where do you get the Rudy's Common Sense podcast? It's the thing that everybody needs to see. Boy. All right, this is a short one because this is all I can take. I know I went over a little bit, but we had a guest, so work with me on this one. Here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, two great shits that hate great together. Tucker had was on Jimmy, or Jimmy was on Tucker. They were basically, it was like they were like this. Fighting the elites brought us together. You do realize he's a fucking trust fund baby, right? And that this asshole's a multimillionaire who considers himself a Marxist. It's adorable.
Are you shocked as I am that I was always proud to be a comedian because comedians never went along.
Okay, first of all, based on what? First of all, proud to be a comedian. Secondly, no. Secondly, a comic at best, because you read other people's jokes. Jimmy doesn't get up on stage and riff, and he's just hilarious because of the way he tells a tale is just, it's got a lilt to it that just tickles your funny bone. He reads shit jokes angrily. Proud to be a comedian.
With the status quo, we always poked hole in the status quo. We always questioned authority. We never followed rules, except when it came to COVID. Almost every comedian I know fell in line lockstep. I saw a comedian after.
It's weird how, and this might be difficult to understand, Jimmy, but those of us with a real audience don't want them to die. And we know our career will survive a shutdown window like we saw in COVID. And I like the idea that my audiences are still alive and able to come out. Sexy Liberal is selling very well ticket-wise. As a matter of fact, we have a little deal that might be happening. I can't even talk about it yet, but it's fairly large. I'm just saying, it's kind of a big deal. And if we'd have just, blown off COVID and just gone, I don't have shows anyways, a lot of our fans might have croaked.
Comedian get on stage in Los Angeles and shame the audience for trying to get informed about an experimental medical treatment that they're being forced to take. They used that phrase. It was called, please don't do your own research. Before COVID, that was just called reading.
No, it wasn't. Do your own research is a euphemism in comedy, especially about people who learn medical treatments off of TikTok videos.
They fell in line way before that, by the way.
And so now they've literally shamed people for reading. You wouldn't do that with any other subject.
No, they were not shaming people for reading. They were shaming people for selectively watching YouTube videos and blowing off real treatments. And by the way, counting on the fact that they're not going to get it because nobody gets it. It's not that and if they carry it, who gives a shit? They'll shrug it off. Never mind the fact that you might pass it on to somebody who's going to die, or you're going to if you do get sick from it, you'll take up a bed that's needed by somebody who's more susceptible to these kind of
Are
things.
you as shocked as me as how easy my old friends became Nazis during COVID?
First of all, I don't know that Jimmy has any, quote, old friends. And they certainly aren't still now if you're like, they became Nazis during COVID. I would argue that some people became more afraid of it or less afraid of it than I did, but I wouldn't categorize them as fucking Nazis either way. Even the ones that thought it was stupid or whatever, I thought they were stupid, but I wouldn't categorize them as fucking Nazis because they I don't know, what the fuck? Who cares if a bunch of people die? We'll just let it slide. Like that's what would qualify them in the Nazi category, I guess, from my side of the aisle. But what the hell?
And that is not a stretch. They became
No, we know a lot. Most of your friends are this close to being Nazis all the time. Sure. Not a stretch.
brown shirts, and they were enforcers. And if you stepped out of line, they were going to call on you. And
Wait, call on you like a substitute teacher? Yeah, that was the thing about people were very concerned that that when the Nazis took over, people in Berlin were like, I hope they don't call me to the chalkboard. I have not memorized the book.
know people who weren't allowed, their own families turned on them. They wouldn't allow them to come home for Christmas or birthdays so are you
Temporarily
shocked at how easy people go along? And it seems like the majority of people go along with it in this country.
with what? Health warnings? Imagine if this motherfucker was talking about people who wouldn't leave during a hurricane warning. Like, they want us to fucking leave out of this place, and the last two weren't nearly as bad, and they're saying this one's super bad, but the last one they said was bad, but it was worse than the one before, so they said it was worse than the one before. It was the worst one so far, but now they're saying this is the worst one so far, and it is, and the last one was, but it wasn't that much worse than the one before it. And yeah, granted, a few people died because they stayed behind, but now, they want us to like leave our houses and that kind of shit just because the water's lapping up into the driveway and it's only noon and the big wind's not supposed to hit till midnight. And I mean, fuck, if they're that worried, they can send a truck full of strangers out in the middle of the night to save us because we refuse to fucking leave. Isn't winning in this situation, I knew it all along, and losing is just, well, fuck it, somebody will come save me.
Well, the overwhelming majority do. And comedians are not your average person. I mean, they're professional nonconformists. The whole point of being a comedian is you have special license to give the finger to anyone you want.
Right, but you can't, it's not a random thing. You have to actually believe what you're selling. And again, the whole thing of being a comedian is not just giving the finger. You got to be funny doing it. Like, for fuck's sake, this drives me crazy. And Jimmy's a classic case. He and Kurt both are classic cases of guys who are like, I don't have to be funny. It's your guys' fault if I'm not. If you guys aren't laughing and even if you're applauding, if you're not laughing at it, it's because you don't want to laugh. It's not because I'm not funny or I'm just bitching on stage. Stand-up isn't just fucking walking on stage and yelling at everybody. Good Lord. You have to be fucking funny first. That's the job. Otherwise, you're like, stand-up philosopher. What? Stand-up philosopher. Oh, you mean a bullshit artist?
People you should be giving the finger to are the ones that none of the rest of us can.
Oh, you mean like Tucker Carlson because he lives in fucking some weird wood cabin on his fucking property?
That's my read on comedy anyway.
Yes. Someone who laughs randomly, and somehow you're trying to convince me at the same time that tanning your balls makes you more masculine.
It really is a special category of nonconformity. So if they're going along,
yeah, the only thing that makes it special is that it has to be funny.
With it, then it tells you whatever's going on here is really deep. And again, I just refer back to the observation about human nature. The need to belong is an overwhelming need, and you have to be kind of a freak not to feel that. And so I would flip it around. No, at this point, I'm
right. I'll give you an example. Tucker Carlson dresses like he's supposed to dress and has a house built to curry favor with the people he wants to be. Like, the dude wore a fucking bow tie for years to suck up to a particular crowd. I'm dead serious. There is no one more like derpy conservative, like mask wearer than Tucker Carlson. And now, since he's in the, the edgy, I guess, intellectual derp web part of things, I guess he's just now again, I look like the rich version of Jimmy Dore.
Not shocked. I've been
the rich, younger version, which I think he's older.
So gravely disappointed by so many people, many of whom are friends of mine, and I just feel sad about it. I was just talking to one tonight who I still love, but like part of me, I just can't help but think, God,
that your friends are stupid.
You just debased yourself. You have no dignity. You're not a man anymore. I mean,
you're not a man anymore. Can you imagine being told you're not a man anymore by this dude? Easy there, Butch.
I feel that way. But I flip it around and think of all the people I have met in the last 3 years well, you're one of them.
Really? It's that bad, is it? 3 years and you've met so few people, and one of them is Jimmy Dore.
And I can think of a bunch of others, Russell Brand's another, who, like, I never would have imagined. Like, you couldn't have predicted who the people were.
Oh, I see. So sexists and bigots and faux-gressives, basically. You never pictured being friends with them because you always thought they have to wear their mask and you have to wear your mask. You never realized you both would eventually wear the same mask.
Who were just like, no, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to tell the truth.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Period. I'm going to tell the truth. I don't care what you do to me. I'm telling the truth. And there was a percentage of people who decided that. And I just think they're wonderful people. They're the best people I've ever met in my whole life.
I just don't want to hang out with them. It's just that I want to stay in my multi-million-dollar cabin and away from them. And I mean, Russell's amazing, but I do have a restraining order against him. And Jimmy, you're terrific, but it's the smell, no amount of those little violet mints is going to solve it. And you always bring Kurt with you because he writes all the things you think are funny. And this cabin ain't big enough for the three of us. So
I really mean that. Like, I have probably a lot fewer friends than I once did.
Shocking.
But I respect them much more.
The people that left? I agree.
Learn much more from them. I'm in awe of some of them, their bravery. And
yeah, it takes a lot of bravery to wantonly sexually assault women and go, fuck it, it's their fault.
Their integrity. I mean, I never had friends like that. Naomi.
I never had friends like that. You worked for Fox News forever, and you're just so now. Right now you're basically just telling us that no one at Fox has integrity. Fabulous.
Wolf, like, who would have guessed Naomi Wolf? I would speak for myself. I've never been a liberal, so I would like make fun of Naomi Wolf. And then Naomi Wolf decided, whether you agree with her or not, she's like, I'm not ever telling a lie, and I don't care what you do to me. And I just never would have predicted Naomi Wolf would be one of those people. Like, where did that come from? Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe it's because you've always lived a farcical, contrarian TV life, and you don't actually have real takes on stuff.
But how cool is that?
So cool.
I'm with you. I would have never expected that you and I would be friends with each other. That
yes.
I'm not shocked at all.
You and I would be on the same page.
Well, it helps that you're a millionaire, Jimmy. Right? Now that you're a millionaire, right? That helps. If you believe me, it's easier to get into Tucker's circle when you have a multi-million-dollar house in the Hollywood Hills, right? Helps.
I agree.
I used to be a like Jon Stewart, and
no, no, you were never like Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is funny. Even when I disagree with Jon Stewart, he's still funny. You're just a miserable asshole.
And then I just woke up and
posing as a comedian. Jesus Christ. I used to be like, I'm like Jon Stewart, but I oppose the PACT Act, right?
As soon as I looked into anything, like when
anything.
I got vaccine injured and I looked into it. I found out they were lying about everything. They were lying about masks. They were lying about where the virus came from. They were lying about.
That is funny. It is funny that he believes these things. That's funny. That's actually what Tucker is laughing at, is him counting his injury and his other stuff on his fingers, and Tucker is laughing at him, not with him, not in support of him, because who the fuck would do that? That's like saying, I learned about this after my car accident. Hi. Oh, the popcorn finally came. We ordered, well, Summer ordered popcorn, and apparently there was this whole dust-up where the popcorn just vanished, and it was like, we thought it might have been any number of things. It could have been a porch pirate or something like that, and she was making phone calls, and like 5 people came to pick it up, and the first one did, but they never delivered it, and they're supposed to leave a picture. And here it is, if I may. What is it? Dill pickle. Salt and vinegar and white cheddar. This is horrifying. She decided to get a popcorn thing that I will never eat. Dill pickle, salt and vinegar, and what?
And just white cheddar.
And white cheddar.
But try it. No, you gotta try the other one.
This is the dill pickle. Dill pickle.
Good.
It's delicious, babe. Merry Christmas. What's this one? Salt and vinegar. Great. On popcorn. This is interesting. I'm afraid to try the white cheddar now because it's delicious. Totally worth the wait, babe. Well done. Love you. It's delicious. In all fairness, Summer's from a region of the world where they fried dill pickles, like fried pickles slices. Fried pickles. And she likes them, and it's sort of a treat. In the same way that I like boiled peanuts. So yeah, that's sort of the trade-off. Okay, she's gone. Okay. Woo. I'm okay. Whew. I only had one of each, and that's going to be... swarthy, isn't it? I was not expecting that those would be the 3 flavors. When she talked about getting popcorn, I gotta say I was completely caught off guard by that. It's I feel the dill pickle one working its way through, and I feel like it's gonna be okay. It's fine. The salt and vinegar one should be. Ooh. But at least the white cheddar is gonna be. Oh, I'll be back right after this. All right. So. I'm fine. All right, back to let's finish out with these idiots. Well, where were we when we last left these 2 idiots? Tucker Carlson was laughing at Jimmy's vaccine injury. You know, like friends do.
About herd immunity. They were lying about natural immunity. They were lying about transmission and contraction, and they were lying about lying. And it's just and
that got curt.
Still, my friends in Hollywood will just pretend.
His friends in Hollywood. I have to say, like, the fuck are you talking about? Who the hell says, who says that? Who says my friends in Hollywood? Let's just start there. This is just embarrassing. Think of any real comedian you know. Any real comedian. and that includes me. Who the fuck says my friends in Hollywood? Unless, by the way, they have a friend who actually just lives like at Hollywood and Highland, like that area. They live in Hollywood. Like, you know, my friend in Hollywood has a hell of a time because the traffic around his building. That's okay to say. Like, but my friends in Hollywood, get the fuck out of here. Tell me again about the elites, Mr. My friends in Hollywood. Shut the fuck up. Ugh.
That didn't happen.
Everything's reefer madness. They have one mode.
I know.
And I know I'm supposed to let
I'm supposed
to let you go right now. Do you have to go right now?
That's see, Jimmy, that's how you lose friends in Hollywood. If people in Hollywood tell you they got to go someplace, even if it's not true, you got to let them go.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, I'd love to stay all day, and I'm so in awe of you, but I got to get the fuck out of here.
I'm doing Twitter Spaces for X Spaces for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Why does he laugh like a foil in a Beverly Hillbillies episode? Now, Mr. Clampett, I don't think this is proper. Oh, my goodness. This country music thing is quite interesting.
And we don't call it Twitter.
You dead named X.
You dead named it. It's called X now, but
I know, dead named X. Shit.
Kurt is not. I'm not.
It is good. It's so good.
Not calling it X. I'm still calling it Twitter. Kurt, what do you say?
Oh, I say.
Do your joke. Kurt. Do your joke for Tucker. He has to leave. Come on. Don't look down. Do it. You're proud of it. It's a good joke. It doesn't make me laugh, but other people seem to think it's a joke. It qualifies on the merits, even if it's not funny, mainly because of the structure. Tell him your joke. Go ahead.
Malcolm Twitter and the Twitter phone. If somebody has a xylophone.
Yeah, it says instead of Malcolm. I don't get it either. But it's something along the lines of Malcolm X's real name is Malcolm Twitter, and he calls him that because he's boycotting it. And so and then something else.
I won't acknowledge X and other things. That's how dead namey.
That's how dead namey we are. Okay, Tucker Carlson. Everybody check out his new.
It is so good. See, I told you he'd like it. And look at his beet red fucking face. He's high as shit right now. I swear to God. Ever since he and Sean Hannity broke up and Sean lost his weed vape in the divorce, Tucker's been just look at him. He looks like his head's made up like an apple with hair on it. It's so weird. And it only happens when he does that weird laugh.
His new news network, and become a subscriber. It's
his new news network. Because who doesn't have one of those? Who isn't rich enough to have their own? What kind of plebey bullshit are you guys doing with your time? Do you have a new network? You have a new network of your own? Yeah? You sons of bitches? Hold on. I got to do this. This is inappropriate, but I've got to do it better. Hold on one second. God damn it. Listen, if you guys, I don't even want people in my audience that are so goddamn poor, they can't afford to have their own goddamn news network, okay? You either get one or you beat feet, God damn it. This is what you do. First you get the money, then you get the wood, then you get your own goddamn network. And then maybe, if you're fucking lucky, you could be on with Jimmy and Kurt. But you count your goddamn blessings and you leave when they goddamn say you can leave.
The only thing that can save this country is if we get information that doesn't come from the billionaire-controlled media and the liars on corporate news that's it. That's the
Yeah, it's got to come directly from the millionaire class. Hello. and anyone who, of course, is technically, a trust fund baby to $1 billion enterprise. I mean, I don't eat those Swanson meals or whatever. They're just too risky business for me. I don't eat frozen food ever unless it's do snow cones count? I think they do. Don't ask me, but
Only
I
thing,
think
and
so.
and we need an actual revolution. And I've been.
That's true, an actual revolution, and that's what he's doing. They're working out, both of them. They're going to the gym. They're doing saunas, steam. They're doing sit-ups and all that kind of stuff. And they're going to get ready for the actual revolution, not a metaphorical revolution. He wants people in the streets with fucking pitchforks, gallows built everywhere. Let's do this. While he sits in his house in Beverly Hills and watches it through binoculars, like you're supposed to. Hello?
Saying this for a while. We needed, Bernie Sanders used to start every speech in 2016. Sounds like you're ready for a revolution. Well, he dropped that.
Well, that's because it was a metaphor, and he's no longer running. So he said it during his running, and quite frankly, he lost. So obviously, they weren't as ready as he thought for his metaphorical one. But if he lost the metaphorical one, why would you think that? Never mind.
And he doesn't want one. And if nobody's going to lead it, I'll lead it. I think we.
Yes, if anybody's going to follow someone in a revolution against the entire American system, tear down all the buildings and billboards and electronics and the power supply and clog up the water system and fuck up the financial sector and stop all the people in Hollywood, even his friends, and the FAA, grind that to a fucking halt. We need a revolution. Everybody's going to follow Jimmy Dore out onto the battlefield. Mainly because they won't have to walk very fast, because I think he has a bad back.
We need a revolution, and
we do. A revolution. And I think technically what he means is turn yourself around. You do the hokey pokey, then you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
I know you'll be there to support us. Tucker Carlson.
No, I will say this. I will not be there. I'm getting my nails done that day. Tucker, I believe, also has a similar appointment. If I'm not mistaken, he might be getting his balls tanned that day. We don't know. I don't know if they're tanned or burnt or crispy or, fucking frapped. I don't know how that machine works at all, and I'm not going anywhere near it. And the one thing I do know is that no one would follow Jimmy to the theater. Like, if Jimmy leaves his house and you're going where he's going, it's a party, and everybody's like, we're going to this house. Nobody is good. And Jimmy goes, follow me. People will go, give me the address. I'm putting it in my fucking phone. I'm just saying. 100% of the time, including Kurt, who is probably in the same car as Jimmy. Even Kurt, who's in Jimmy's car, doesn't trust Jimmy to drive there, even if Jimmy's using his own GPS. I'm just saying.
And thanks so much for coming on, pal.
Amen.
Pal, that's so sweet. Oh, they get along so well. It's fabulous. It is. Thanks, pal. You got it, buddy. Amen. For the full interview, click here. No, click this just random space in the. I'm just supposed to click just this weird gap in the curtain. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Fabulous. They're all fabulous. All right, so one more time. There we go. Back to me. Hi. Just hit the like and the yays and the stuff. That kind of thing. And hey man, it's the least you can fucking do. Just do it, man. Hit that like. What's it gotta take, man? Share the show. Help us out. Patreon.com/HouseBarks. All that shit. You think my dental work is free? You motherfuckers. I'm dead fucking serious. We just watched a clip with 2 goddamn millionaires in it, and this motherfucker's trying to keep the lights on this show, and yet I don't even want it. Easy, man. Easy, Ficus. Don't give me that shit. I mean it. I'm going to take them to task where it's Christmas. Just let them, it's fine. It ain't fine. It ain't fine. Do you have any idea how much my dental floss costs? It's like barge rope, but regular strands. It's expensive. Takes like 97 of them little carryable packs. And then I gotta pay a weaver. Fuck that, man. All right, well, it's up to you guys, but I appreciate the help, and we love you right back. And tomorrow be a curious day because I am driving to LA. It's kind of a last minute thing, but I'm driving to LA with my dear friend Richard Hunter, and we're going to go see Billy Gibbons at the Troubadour because he got invited and he needs a car buddy again. And so off I will go. I think we will be able to make it in time for me to do the regular show at the house. So fingers crossed, traffic willing, we should be all right. I might have to start a little later, but I'll do the show and then, you know, I'll just have him drop me off at the house, you know, go have something to eat or some shit, and then he'll pick me up and we'll go to the show, and then we're going to turn right around and come back, so I'm here Wednesday morning for a regular show, and it's 2 people driving, so we should be all right. I hope. And then, of course, I've got to do it again on Saturday because I'm a crazy person. Okay, yeah. That said, I love you guys, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here. And I want to thank Tony Michaels for coming on the show today, and I want to thank Tara for joining us, and the Major. It was like super guest-friendly show. It's just great. It's just really lovely. I might have to make Richard Hunter join us. You guys got to be introduced. If those of you that don't know my good friend Richard Hunter, I gotta have him on too. I gotta make sure he calls. I'm gonna arrange that. We're gonna make that happen. He's got a real Dallas draw to him. You know, he's a great dude. And as a comic, he's spot on. He's a good dude. He's all right. So, but we'll get to that later. Little surprises. That said, be careful and watch out for the kidney. Or the gallbladder, because I've heard bad things. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't hit the like, hit it on your way out the door. Share the show, share the clips, leave some comments, all that kind of stuff. It really helps us out. You guys rock.